Hello, everybody, and welcome here to the Daytona International Speedway here for the Prestige Racing Series, here for the Prestige Cup Series. Hello, my name is Christian Delgado, and alongside in the booth with me tonight, we do have, once again, Peter Tiro up in the booth. Peter, how you doing tonight?
Great, just like as always. And after that incredible duel that we just watched a little over an hour ago, I'm really excited to get to call this much longer, much more strung out, much more grueling race here around Daytona.
It's definitely going to be exciting. We saw lots of good, lots of aggressive, maybe a little bit too over-aggressive racing there in that duel, but there being only 15 laps, that's what you expect to see. You know, you're probably going to see that if we get to a situation where we're going to green with 15 to go later tonight in this race. But really excited to call this race the season opener here for the Prestige Cup Series. And we've had a blast calling it. We had a really good clash last week there at USA International or Lakeland, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, with about 8 minutes of practice, we're going to go ahead and look at some of your fastest drivers right now. Chris Emerson, currently quickest driver on track.
Yeah, and there's a lot of storylines that came out of that duel that just took place. Obviously, Zachary Trevino being the driver that won it in the 8 machine with help from his teammate Nicholas Rode, and they secured that second row starting spot for tonight's event. But a lot of drivers involved in that last incident that happened coming out of turn 4. Some drivers benefited, like Jacob Quill, who's going to end up starting 14th tonight, and others like Tyler Curley, he's going to end up starting 24th, way back after being, I think, top 5 on that last restart.
Yeah, Tyler Curley showed that he can be a driver to look for, but also, in the same aspect, he can be a driver to avoid. Looked really quick in the race, but also caused some havoc in the race. So it's going to be interesting to see if how people look at him and want to race with him throughout the race. I think he definitely didn't gain a lot of friends there, but he also didn't gain a lot of. There's we're going 250 miles here, a lot of time to maybe make some friends along the way.
100 laps tonight around Daytona, and it should be really exciting here for the Team Foster 250 because it's so much different from what we just watched. That was 15 laps. It's a shootout. You go for what you have. Tonight, we could see so much more. We could see green flag pit stops. Pit strategy is almost definitely going to come into play. Who do you pit with if we get those green flag pit stops? That could change the whole tide of the race. Right now, looking at Ford, who was really fast in the duel that just happened, ended up not winning the race, even though he led the field to the last green flag restart. But some of these drivers that are up front, starting up front, they're going to have a long way to go if they want to stay up there and be there at the end of this one.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, when you have 100 laps here, you're going to have to show some patience. You're going to have to show that you can work with people, right? Even people that aren't your teammates. You see the 6 and the 60 there, alongside with the 17. Looks like a group of teammates here. Right now, Ryder Morgan right now in that 17, actually P2 in practice with his teammate, and the 60 Owens took a huge tumble in the duel. They're P3 in practice.
Yeah, Lax was airborne, coming to the line basically through the short chute and entering the tri-oval. Luckily got that car back on all fours, finished the race, and it's back out here again. He's hoping he doesn't repeat that, and actually is hoping to do a lot better. And I think that this teamwork in practice really helps that, knowing how you can push. This is the time to learn that. You'd rather figure it out now, maybe, turn somebody in practice than accidentally do it in the race and, cause a 20-car pileup. It's a 41-car field, so there's not, the possibility is most certainly there for the big one tonight.
I definitely agree. Also in the booth with us tonight, once again, he was here for the clash, and he was once again here for tonight's race. We have JJ Moore, and JJ, you've raced with some of these guys before. You know some of the tendencies of these drivers, right? Is there anybody you're looking for who you want to talk to before we go into quali?
Well, some people I can think right off. Obviously, there's many different ways you can go about racing. You could be very conservative. That's how usually I race. I like to chill at the back, kind of let the race play out. I know, Wyatt Thompson will probably be that way, I think. Jaren, like I said in the duel, he could be very aggressive, and he was. I think he was up like 23 or 24 spots. But if he wants to be, he can be very laid back, let the race play out. But I feel like there's also people that could be very aggressive to get up to the front very quickly, especially if they have a bad starting spot or possibly didn't show up to the duel. Joshua Parent could be one of them. Joseph Enright, I feel like, could be one of them. Geo Turpin. But it's just gonna kind of play it by ear. It's 100 laps. Just gotta kind of play it, see how the field likes to play, and if they're gonna play aggressive, then I would just keep playing aggressive back.
I definitely agree. That's going to be the name of the game, is just trying to kind of match the energy of the field. I feel like if you are forced to kind of be three wide and make moves and stuff like that, then that's what you're going to have to do. If everybody wants to sit single file, I think it's the best thing to do is kind of sit and file and ride and kind of ride around and just kind of match the vibe, right? If it's not time to go, then don't go. If it's not time to sit in line, then don't sit in line, right? And I definitely agree with that kind of statement.
Yeah, I also 100% agree, and we saw that a little bit in the duel. We saw some drivers around the top 10 single file try it out. We didn't exactly get green flag runs, not that we really had enough laps to get a long green flag run to really see it play out. But I think we're definitely going to see that play out today. There's going to be, it really is going to be dependent on what the first person to make that move is going to take the whole pack with them. If one person gets aggressive and gets some other people to go with him, that changes the tide of this whole entire race. So it's going to be really interesting to watch, to see what these guys do, because we saw some guys get really aggressive in the duel and get in wrecks, mire themselves back. Now where they're starting farther back, now they're going to have to work their way up and maybe use that aggression a little more tamely than they did.
Well, with just under 2 minutes left in practice, you're starting to see some drivers maybe come out and get a two-car tandem going with a teammate or something. Right now we see the 66 Zach Case with the 25. Obviously two different manufacturers, but obviously practice time is practice time right now. And we talked about, kind of the bubble you're starting to see right here with the 66.
That bubble is going to be really important. We saw a couple drivers able to pull that off. One of them clearly was the 8 car of Trevino with his teammate Rode behind him. They stayed linked up pretty much that whole entire last green-white checkered, and it worked flawlessly for them. They were able to lead the bottom and take it all the way to victory lane. So they have that experience of working together. Some of these other drivers trying to also gain that experience, and we're going to see how it plays out here in the duels. We could see some tandeming possibly come into play. Sorry, not the duels, into the main event.
Tandeming is something that's kind of unique with the next gen. It's one of those cars that you can tandem and still to a point, right, where you can get linked together with another car and actually take off away from the pack. Obviously, it's not going to be like back in the good old days with the COT where you would see those two-car tandems, but it is one of those cars where you do see, where two guys can kind of get together and start to at least, pull a little bit of a gap on the rest of the field. As we see the 48 of Tyler Helms, we saw him get caught up in a wreck here in the duel earlier today.
30 seconds left. And remember, all these drivers are qualified in. Qualifying has already taken place. Took place before the duels, before today. So after this practice session, after 15 more seconds, we'll be on to the race and onto your race rundown for your starting grid.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about in the duel a little bit, so we had our two drivers who were the fastest in qualifying during their solo runs that took the pole, and then the rest of the field was made up from that first duel earlier today, and that's how everybody will be lined up. So no qualifying for tonight's race, as the grid has already been set. As we get ready to go, we'll allow some of these drivers to get ready to go. Obviously, there's a bunch of tools in the shed here that these drivers can do to make sure the car's driving the way they need to, with whether it's the brake bias, whether it's the steering pinion, and even here, I guess going down pit road is the best way that they use it here, is the master cylinders. These next gens have just so much more tools in in the shed here that you can use prior to, you know, some of these other cars here on the service.
No doubt about it. As drivers get onto the grid, your number one fastest time in qualifying was Wyatt Youngblood. We saw him in the duel, decide to start from the pits. Smart move, save the car. Gets to start from pole position with Condorian Davis on his outside. Zachary Trevino, the winner of the duel, and Nicholas Rode, his teammate, in that second row. Then it's Max Ford and Oliver Quinney in the third row.
And out that fourth row is going to be Owen Lax with Wyatt Thompson, with Gio Turpin and JJ Moore rounding out that row. You have Andrew Tannell, Joshua Parent, Roman Ivanov with Gabion Goalie going to round that row. Brandon Kiger with Joseph Enlight, and Jaron Jaley and Lucas Lewis. Brandon Salmon and Peter Hop going to round out that last row.
The rundown that iRacing is displaying is slightly off from what the officials want it to be. So we might hold for a second on the rest of the field because I don't think it is accurate. Currently race control is giving the rundown to the drivers to make sure they're in the correct positions.
Yeah, there seems to be a little bit of a hiccup with the starting lineup, but we are getting them all rearranged right now, so they should be pretty much in the right order.
Yeah, it shows right now Jacob Quillar pole sitter, but obviously he is not supposed to be up there. Obviously, we had the two drivers who qualified their way in on speed during speed weeks, and yeah, obviously it can be a little bit tricky as an admin and stuff like that to set up these up properly to get everybody in the right spots. And you know, we talked to, you know, the race control and Zach, our league owner here, and you know, he said that there was a possibility that this could happen. And like I said, nothing out of the fault of anybody. It's just, you know, sometimes the sim can give us some trouble here.
Well, you're going to get plenty familiar with all the drivers in this field over the next 100 laps, so there's no issue with it as they continue to follow the order out. We're going to take one more pace lap just to make sure that we're all set up, because we definitely don't want to send this field to green in the improper running order. We're going to take the extra time and the extra care to make sure that these drivers who are in these spots get to start where they do.
While we get the time, let's run through you race track facts printed by Delta Eagle Designs. Go check him out over at Delta Eagle Designs over on X. Daytona International Speedway here at Daytona Beach, 2.5 mile super speedway here with bankings, with 31 degrees of bankings in the turn, with 18 degrees in the tri-oval here. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and take a look at your race weather for tonight's race. Obviously, it'll be a day in the night race as it will transition, but right now, currently 85 degrees with 89 degrees on track, with a little bit of humidity, with just a little bit of wind, not too much. Partly cloudy out here at Daytona Beach, so still a great night to have some great racing here at the World Center Racing.
Yeah, and this track's going to cool off a lot from what it was earlier in the day when they ran the duel. So these drivers, we saw a couple times the cars got a little loose on the edge of the corner when the air got put on them just the wrong way. That might kind of work its way out of the system as the grip starts to go up with the cooler temperatures. We could see guys get a little more aggressive as the lights turn on and possibly make this race an absolute blockbuster to see.
No, I definitely agree. You know, I feel like it's not talked about how much more dynamic the racing can be when we go tonight. And it's definitely going to put on a good show for these fans at home, and it's definitely going to make it more dynamic. I mean, when racing under the lights at Daytona is like nothing else that you'll see. And I can't wait for that to happen. But we first got to get there. 150 laps. And 100 laps, my apologies. And can't wait to go.
Wyatt Youngblood, Condorian Davis, the front row, qualified to those spots fastest times out of the whole 41 car field. into the restart zone, and green flag. 100 laps here under the lights at Daytona.
Going into 3 and 4, Kendorian Davis in that 88, running the top, gets a little bit of help, but here in the 3 and that 1 machine, a little bit separated, but we'll get back together going into 3 and 4.
Down to the bottom, got the spot, and is going to lead the first lap. Finished second in the duel, pushed his teammate to the lead. Now they're hooked up on the high side. Back to the front, they're trying to go and continue right where they left off.
You see Trevino and Rhodes hooked up. You got the 88, a Chevy teammate on the top. We have the 1 and the 11 on the bottom. Great shove by the 11 of Max Ford to get that one out to the lead.
And Ford looked so strong in the duel. He led a good chunk of it, especially in the latter half. Got kind of messed around with the last green-white checkered. Was not able to get the victory in the duel, but he's going to try and prove himself in the race that matters most tonight. Max Ford to the high side, trying to get help from the Chevy teammates on the top. The run's coming, but it's not quite there in time for the start-finish line. This time by Wyatt Youngblood. Your pole sitter is going to lead.
You see that TH designed the machine, help with the 16. And Gavin Smith, we saw a little bit of blinking out of that 16 machine in this first early lap. Something you do not want to see, especially early on in this race, but looks like it's fixed itself. You see the 67 of Reeve Simmons. He looked pretty quick. Got caught up in some of those cautions there in the duel, but already making his way up into the top 5.
I'm so happy you mentioned Simmons because he has got to have learned from what happened in that duel. Remember, he got stuck three wide after he was running at the front, pretty much right where he is now, and fell all the way to the back. And then, with all the cautions that happened, that was the worst place to be. So Reeve Simmons going to try and stay out front here to try and stay out of all that trouble. So far, 4 laps completed. So many more to go.
See the top kind of starting to die off once again. You see the 33, Jacob Quill, going up to lead that line now. You know, teammates with that 8 and that 3, but right now the top just not where you want to be. You see a lot of those guys going up top starting to lose some spots.
Yeah, and up there is Trevino, Rhodes, drivers who did really good in the duel. Max Ford, all these drivers losing ground early, and we're seeing single file throughout pretty much the top 10 on the bottom. It's kind of what we talked about, Christian. This is how this race is probably going to go for a good chunk. Get green flag runs, possibly get pit stops. Just make sure you have a car for the end.
Exactly, and as JJ put it up earlier in this race, you know, it's going to be about the vibe of the race. What do you do now? Do you be aggressive? Do you sit in line? What do you do? And it seems like right now a lot of people just want to get to the bottom, sit in line, and kind of run these laps out. 100 laps, we do get a caution, but the stage at lap 25, so maybe it's time to kind of feel out what the car wants to do, who you can work around, who, if you do want to go to the front, who can you go to the front with, right? With 5 complete here, we're going to 20 to go here to the stage. You know, I think it's okay right now to kind of sit in line and kind of mind your P's and Q's.
Yeah, and a couple cars jump up to the high side as the bottom line stacks up big time. And one of those, Owen Lax, he was on his side in the duel. He's up to second on the outside line, pushing the 6th machine. And how about that? I mean, what a job from him to recuperate, figure it out, just put it all behind you, and go for what really matters here. And it's the win here after 100 laps. And he is working his way to the front. He's found his way there, leaving the outside that's kind of been falling off, riding on board with him now as he pushes through the corners, trying to get the most out of it he can.
Pushing that teammate out there in that 6th machine, trying to get that top working. But once again, you know, you see him pushing the corners. That's something that you got to be careful with these new next gens. If you swipe on the nose, you push him in the wrong way, there's going to be disaster incoming.
Lewis is trying to hold on as hard as he can right now because Owen's pushes are a little rough on the rear bumper, and they're obviously losing ground on that high side. I just don't think people quite have the want to go up there and push as hard at this point in the race. I mean, we have, another 20 laps till we even get a guaranteed caution. Why not just ride around, mind your business, make sure that you can maybe get some points at the stage, and then figure out where you go from there. Make some changes at the pit stop, and you'll be in a much better spot, at least if your car's, you know, not destroyed.
Yeah, and I think the thing that kind of also prevented is, do you see a little blinking out of the 6? It's hard to want to work with someone who having connection issues, and it's not the fault of the driver. It's not the fault of really the service. Oh, a huge check up on the bottom. But I mean, it's hard to want to work with someone because you don't know where they are. You don't know how their internet's going to react to you, you know, trying to push them out, right? And you see the 6 now and the 60 dropping down the bottom. I think they figured out that the top is not the way to go. But you do see those three teammates now on the top, led by Jacob Quill. They're trying to make that top work.
Yeah, I feel like one of the biggest characteristics of this new next-gen draft package is checkups. And when you're in a big line like that, all nose to tail, those checkups sneak up on you quick. And if you're somebody like Max Ford was there, where you're 10, 11, 12 cars back in the line, and you're all the way up the rear bumper of somebody else, you're up their spoilers, the only thing you can see out your front window, they will sneak up on you. And if you don't catch it in time, one car gets tagged, a 76 machine. Is he going to be able to save it? No! Hard hit to the outside wall. Caution is going to wave, and a multi-car incident here on lap 8.
Lots of cars involved, and that's what you see with these big fields. You know, when the wreck happens, there's nowhere to go. You cannot check up because there's someone behind you that probably doesn't know what's going on. But we'll definitely take a look at this on the HVTV replay, and we'll find this number 76 and see if he can show us what happened. Go back a little bit in this replay. This started happening well before. Get the 76 to the back end of the 7, trying to push him out, and just not. He pushed him out so well that, you know, he got taken 3 wide, and I don't know if he thought he was clear. It came down, and that 48 car was there.
Yeah, I mean, you just shifted up a lane, tried to get the spot back, and unfortunately, that's how it is at Daytona. You lose that spot if you make that move and make that mistake, and he tried to get back in, he just could not. First caution of the day. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the characteristics about Daytona, like Talladega. Even you could say with this new Atlanta or Echo Park Speedway, you know, once you give up the spot, you can't go force someone to give it back. You have to kind of give it up, right? Or you see those things happen. You know, when you give up the lane, especially at these drafts tracks, they're going to take it, and they're going to take advantage of you making that mistake, you know, drifting up the track and you know, making a mistake. See some drivers out pit side led by Max Ford.
And I mean, where can the 48 even go there? He's on the bottom, and going into the corner, you can't even get on that apron. Car's just going to go up the track anyway. I mean, he had absolutely nowhere to go. We saw him get involved in a wreck as well in the duel.
Yeah, the 48, you know, involved in one of the wrecks involving the 43 of Tyler Curley. You know, just kind of nowhere to go for him, and unfortunate for him, cannot get out of the way or stay out of the way, stay out of trouble. You see the 48 coming back out. A lot of front-end damage to that machine.
It looks like a lot of drivers here taking just fuel, a couple grabbing tires as well. And Christian, you're much more familiar with this car than I am. I mean, I know it a little bit, but this is your bread and butter here on iRacing. So how much do you think tires are going to come into play here at Daytona?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the tires play out. I feel like, you know, the update didn't really change a lot of the tire wear, especially at the super speedways. The only super speedway I really saw that the tires were affected were like Atlanta, where the handling depends is a lot more dependent at Atlanta, just because it's a shorter track. You're putting a lot more wheel into the corner. But here at Daytona, I don't really know if tires are going to mean a whole lot more. But you saw a lot of drivers come down pit road, top off on fuel. I don't really think that's a bad thing. You know, a shorter pit stop for when we get to that stage caution at lap 25. You know, if you want to take lefts there, you can, but overall, you know, I don't really mind, or I don't really disagree with some of these guys coming down pit road, topping off on fuel, making that pit stop just a little bit shorter for that stage caution.
Yeah, and maybe you're a little safer back there too. I mean, that wreck was middle pack-ish, but I would say it was more towards the front of the pack. And something like that happens where it's going through 3 and 4, and it's really tight through there. Not many places to go. Maybe you're better off with only 10 laps in just to ride around at the back, And like I've said all night long, have a car at the end. That is king tonight. In order to finish first, you first have to finish.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, we've seen some of the best runs in real life here, or even on the sim, right? From guys just literally riding around in 29th, 30th, right? Obviously, you know, in real life you have the stages and stuff, which kind of forces some drivers to be a little bit more aggressive. But here we have that lap 25 stage, and then we'll get the caution. And besides that, you can kind of do whatever you want to get to the end here, because that's the only time you're going to get points is for finishing. We're not getting stage points to help propel you into the playoffs for points wise. It's just whoever can get to the finish first, and whoever can, you know, finish the race is gonna succeed. You know, being aggressive here early in the stage, or early in the race, isn't gonna get you anywhere.
I like this call by Wyatt Youngblood. Takes the top, puts a teammate behind him there in Preston Salmon. This is early strategy calls being made, and we did see the top kind of not perform as well on the restarts, but the more that I watched that, I almost felt like it was just the leader wasn't taking the top as much, and the leader just got a much better jump every single time. So now he's got that teammate behind him. They should hopefully be able to get some comms going and be able to get hooked up here in half a lap. It'll be that great.
Yeah, we saw, you know, the leader in that duel take the top, and it took off pretty well. It's just the leader took off pretty well, I would say. The rest of the top did not. So I do think it is a matter of fact of just the leader kind of picked the bottom every time, and it just really made the bottom look a lot better because the leader was starting to race on the bottom. But you see that TH Design's #1 machine is going to pick the top, teammate behind him, and it looks like it can be pretty promising if those teammates are going to give each other a countdown to, you know, get that top lane moving.
Gavin Smith, we didn't talk about him at all in the duel. He's currently up in second, yeah, leading that bottom lane back to this restart.
Have the one up top, the 16 Chevy front row, Toyota Chevy second row, as we're back green here at Daytona.
Big jump there from Youngblood, and he has the help there from Salmon as well, but Salmon jumps down to the bottom. Make sure he has enough time for his teammate to get in front of him as well, and they're going to clear to that bottom lane, and the top lane is already dying out as drivers jump to the bottom, trying to save themselves as much as they can. It's going to leave the 3-car out on his own of Nicholas Road. As they get up through the gears, Road's going to be scrambling to try and find any help.
And the 9, going to try to get to the back end of the 3 to at least give him a little bit of a shove. Try to get the top at least going a little bit to mitigate the damage, but the bottom already very populated here. Nowhere to go for these guys. They're just going to have to sit in line, either try to fight it or just kind of find a hole where they can.
Become a little separated 2-3 wide behind them there. That's Max Ford on the high side. Some drivers here at the end kind of just trying to scavenge onto the back, trying to keep the draft, but it's kind of become a mix of 2 packs at this point. These guys side by side pulling each other back. You have that front group that's mostly single file towards the front, and then back by Zach Case, the number 66 machine, there is a second pack that is starting to form only 1 lap after the restart, because I think he may have lost the draft.
Yeah, we're looking...
I grabbed it back.
Yeah, about a half a second back. With these next gens, you can get around a second, you know, maybe at most a second and a half, and continue to latch on to the field. You see Zach Tenold back here in the 51, kind of just riding around, and I would say about 24th on back. We'll go through the rear view mirror here of this 51. You see a lot of these guys just trying to hold on. You hear him actively lifting out of the throttle just to stay back here, keep this car safe, keep him out of trouble, like you talked about, Peter, earlier in the race. You know, right now he doesn't really care about running up front. He cares about keeping himself in the race.
Yeah, for sure, and it's going to be really important for him to just stay hooked onto that draft, because even though it is early, if we were to get a green flag run now, it would be the most unlucky time to lose the draft on the restart, because you're going to lose so much time as the front group has single filed out almost completely through the whole field. There's only 3 cars on that high side, and I'm sure they're looking for any opportunity, any gap to get to the bottom. So currently, single file through the majority of the top, you could say 25 cars maybe. Those guys at the back, they're going to lose a lot of time, and 1 car ducks down to the pit lane there, but he was going like full speed. I think it was a 6 machine.
Gotta find him, yeah. Lewis, pit side here, and out of the race. Interesting. I hope everything's okay with that in the 6 machine, but that's gonna really scramble the timing and scoring for us here. We'll try to grab back onto your leaders here.
Yeah, Lewis, I don't know what happened. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. It looked like he blinked and then just tried to duck it down pit lane, but he was already at the pit entry. I mean, he hit the grass going in. I'm not sure if something came up, and he had to go really quick. Hopefully everything is okay, but unfortunately, that might ruin his chances only 15 laps in.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's single file throughout the whole field, really. I mean, even some of those guys who were straggling back have caught the back end of this field, and we know coming to 10 to go in the stage. I think right now it's just kind of sit where you are. We might see a little bit of aggressiveness as we see the 11 actually trying to make the top work once again here, all the way back here in 11th.
Yeah, and right now you can see up in second right now, Salmon is ducking his nose out, and he's not trying to pass Youngblood. Those are teammates. He's trying to get air on that nose, but you know what that means for that inside line? Is it's going to be a lot slower because Salmon has been pushing as hard as he can, but now he can't push like that anymore. He's got to get air on that nose. He's got to cool that motor down, and you're seeing the top lane take advantage of that as the bottom starts to mire back a little bit.
Riding on board with Salmon here. You've seen him. He's trying to be off-centered. And now, you know, from being off-centered, trying to cool that engine, he can't push the leader out. And because of that, the top is back. You know, you have the 7 machine gonna take it 3 wide by the 3, but they're here, you know, side by side with about 3rd or 4th in line. The Salmon gets turned.
My goodness, a huge crash down the back. Multiple of the Quill Motorsports cars involved in this one.
That's a huge hit for that 71 machine. I mean, not really unexpected. That's one of the drivers I did not expect to, you know, happen. I mean, pushing the bottom and a huge wreck out of that 71.
I could not even see what happened. I don't know if it was a push gone wrong. I don't know if he blinked. But a huge crash really early, before even the first stage break.
See if we can take a look and see what happened to our chopper cam once again. This is going to be our go-to camera to see, like, pushing and everything. To the 71, pushing out that 1 machine. See the 3 take the 7 3 wide. He's going to push that top, and I think it was a blink from that 1. The leader blinking. I think might have, you know, the 16 also hasn't had the best damage. No, I just think, I don't know. It might have been a combination of the blink, and it looked like maybe a bad push from the 16 machine. And he just goes up right into that top lane. Nowhere for some of these drivers to go on the top who were just trying to make the top work. And around goes a lot of drivers. You see the 33 spinning out there, and everybody going through the grass trying to avoid.
That was a big wreck for the drivers who were really fast in the duel. 3 of the Quill Speed Performance cars involved in that one, who were all bumper to bumper. Max Ford, I think, may have gotten a little piece of it. I see a slight bit of damage on the front nose of that machine. And Jacob Quill's car is absolutely destroyed, limping it back to the pit lane. You can see that 33. He was doing so well flag chipping his team to the front.
I mean, this is what you see at Daytona. And unfortunately, you know, the wrong place, wrong time. You see the right rear toe link completely snapped off of that machine. So lots of damage. You're going to see him use the fast repair. We get 1 every race, I believe. That would be a question for our Chief JJ up here in the booth, but I believe everybody gets 1 fasty, and unfortunately that 33 is going to have to take it early.
Yeah, and to use it this early that's a hurt. I mean, because now you can go for it, you can push up there, but you almost have to ride around. You can't get in a position where you don't have it anymore. You don't have that safety net to fall back on, and if you're up front, a wreck happens. I mean, we've had 2 in the first 20 laps. There's no doubt we're going to have some more. I mean, I'd love to see this go green all the way, but these guys are going to have to be really careful now, and I think some drivers who just have a little bit of damage, don't have to take that fast repair, are probably breathing a sigh of relief that they can just get it repaired by their crew.
And that's just the big thing about Daytona. It's like you hope you get a green flag run, but I mean, especially here on the sim, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. You're going to get guys that are going to be aggressive. You're going to get unfortunately, you're going to get cautions. You're going to get wrecks. I mean, that's just, you know, it's especially when you put net code and internet on the line like this, where you're inches away from someone. Unfortunately, on the sim, you know, it's better to bet on a caution than bet not on a caution, unfortunately, and that's just sometimes just how you have to look at things.
Say a rundown of the race controls decision on that one.
And we still have JJ here in the booth. JJ, what was your opinion on the wreck here? What do you think, you know, could have happened and what should have happened there?
Not trying to, I wasn't really paying much attention. There's been a lot of that has happened. But it kind of just looked like a bad push in my opinion. The 16 blinked, the 1 blinked, and it kind of, the 71 was kind of left by himself, and it was kind of just like an iRacing moment, whereas, iRacing just has to assume where a car is, and it kind of just led to someone just getting hooked on a bad push, I think.
What was race control's decision on this one?
Well, we're not gonna assess any penalties, obviously, because of blinking. We did give the 16 an EOL. He will drop to the end of the line just because of his blinking. I know there'd been multiple drivers complaining about him blinking through the race so far. And I think that's what the 15 is, Lucas Lewis. I think that's what we'd given him a similar penalty, and that may have been the reason why he darted down pit road like that.
Well, thank you for that. Great insight, for sure. And that's going to take Gavin Smith towards the back, and he was running right up front. So now it's a little bit of a change in the cast of characters at the front of this field when we go green.
Coming with 5 to go to the stage caution. I mean, if guys want track position, guys want to be aggressive, I guess it's the best time to do it. You're back stacked up. You know, you have a caution coming soon. If you want to, you know, maybe make some moves, make a 3-wide move, you know, try to get to the bottom at the very least. The bottom's kind of been the dominant lane here throughout the race. Try to make some spots up before we get the stage caution.
Yeah, this is going to be quick. It's going to be 5 laps. These drivers might not even get the chance to file out. So when we come to that caution, these drivers all expecting it. They're going to have to be careful not to be the caution either, because it's a guaranteed caution coming out, but if we get a wreck, obviously there's going to be one, and you don't want to be that wreck.
See the pace car take a hard left. 1 in the 61 Toyota Chevy front row as the 1's going to lead us back.
Big shot from the 60 machine there. Owen Lax, and Lax now up to the 2nd position. It's been great to watch his climb up through the field. Top 4 breakaway, currently single file on that bottom lane.
I see the top 3 kind of break away. You see the 95 of Beekman. Going to need some help from that 09 to get back up there, but they're going to slowly reel their way back in. Once again, the top has kind of died once again. As I say that, here comes the 95. Going to make a run at this lead.
From the 09 machine of Amons. I can't tell. It almost looks like Beekman might have a little bit of right front damage on that machine, and if so, he might not be the best candidate to lead that outside line. It looks like the hood is pushed up a little bit, and you could see the outside is suffering. One car gets shoved down to the apron. What a save. Good catch there, and the outside continues to fall apart.
Yeah, I think it does look like he does have a little bit of damage on that right front, and I agree. You know, if you got damage, you are not the guy to lead the line. I understand wanting to and wanting to, you know, help out the guys who wanted to run the top, but I mean, you're almost, you know, doing them a disservice by jumping out there and trying to lead the line with that damage. To the 95, jump back down to the bottom, and the top is dead once again. You can see the 09 get left out to dry there, and he's going to have to find a hole.
And welcome to 4th Peter Hopp. We haven't talked about him at all yet. That 24 machine shining under the lights. He's climbed up there, and behind him is Oliver Quinney. He had a great car in the duel, showed ton of pace in that pink Ford. He's trying to mirror it here today in the race under the lights.
Yeah, Quinney up there in the top 5. Right now, I think he likes where he is. You know, he's not right up under the rear end of that 24, just kind of sitting around, riding around. He knows he's getting a caution now in 2 laps. I don't mind where he's sitting right now. You know, you see the 1 of Youngblood still continuing the lead here. You know, I don't think has really given up this top 3 since we've dropped the green flag, and now we have the 60 was up in the air in the duel. Now back here in this P2 spot, and then obviously we commented about how strong Reeves was in the duel. Had some bad luck. Now back up there, claiming that last podium spot.
And Max Ford has flagshipped this tie line with damage on the nose. It's pushed up. The splitter is not even on the ground all the way, but he is going to the front with help from the 23 machine and the 18 and the 48 behind. The 48 involved in that wreck, the first one that we saw tonight. He's third on the outside line with help from the 88.
You see the 11 doing the best he can, and that 23 is right up against the back end of that 11, and you got to start to think about Tim's here, coming to the line. I mean, it's going to be tight for that 23 to continue to push that hard. He's been at least a good lap where he's been sucked up right under the back of that 11. Temps are going to be an issue.
Yeah, and this stage caution's coming soon, and these drivers know it.
Peter Hop going to go try to lead the top, 67.
White flag in the stage. Hop to the high side, help from Ford. Youngblood continues to lead the bottom with Lax behind him. It's Chevy's leading both lanes.
Hop with a little bit of a run, but not enough to really have contention for this, as you still see the 60 doing a really good job pushing out that one machine. Have the 67 now going to be clear this top.
Does Lax make a move? He's backed off the back bumper of Youngblood, and Youngblood's blinking a little bit. He's not quite going to get the draft he needs, but he goes to the high side. Youngblood blocks. Into the wall goes Peter Hop, and Owen Lax is going to lead at the caution, and at the stage, he will win stage 1.
And what a move by the 60. I mean, kind of really not controversial, not really. I mean, you expect it to happen, especially when that car up front starts to blink. Coming into 3 and 4, just really makes it an easy call. The top has a run, go up there, block it. You saw the one try to block, but that run was just too well organized and too much for that one to block it. So Owen Lax wins this stage, and obviously we'll see all these cars come down pit road.
Yeah, I love that move by Owen Lax. You could see him back off the back bumper of Youngblood going into 3 and 4, break that connection between the two, and get the run out of the corner, and he played it perfectly. Ended up getting the stage win, and he's shown a lot of promise as long as he can keep all 4 tires on the ground.
The lights on the pace car still on. Everybody's single file going to go down pit road. Now it's decision time. Does those guys who pitted earlier, does it pay off to come down, take a little bit less fuel because they have a little bit more in the tank, maybe jump some spots? Do people take tires here at this stage? We're exactly 1/4 of the way through the race. Is it time to maybe burn a set?
Yeah, and who said you can't pass? Max Ford, he pitted on that last one. When everybody else came down, he came down with them in that group of cars, and he's up to 3rd. He's going to come down here, but like you said earlier, he's most likely got less time in that pit stop. He's got more fuel in that tank than everybody else. So he has a strong possibility of making spots up here.
Yeah, everybody coming down. This will really be a dictator of who takes tires, who doesn't. We'll see if that 11 wants to take some damage. You see the 11 a little bit overshooting the box. You'll see at least the right side's up on that 11 machine.
Yeah, and he's one of the few that took tires. Lax, I don't think, took tires, and he lost a ton of ground. It's actually Quinney who's going to come out number 1. He's jumped multiple spots with Peter Hop behind him.
Good stop, Oliver Quinney. Peter Hop continues his rebound up into the top 3. And you have Jake Collins, teammate with Owen with the 67 machine. He had a big tumble in the duel. He's going to be up here in the P3 position.
Yeah, Collins has pit strategied his way to the front. He obviously has a lot of pace in that Toyota. See, Joseph Enright, believe, is taking a wave around here at the front of the field, so he's going to get a lap back.
While we get the opportunity to, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break and let our partners over at iRacing talk to you guys a little bit, and then we'll be right back here for the start of the race.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway as we get ready to go green here. Once again, huge shout out to Backmarker for being a proud partner of the PRS family. Use code PRS10 at checkout. Also, huge shout out to Admin Box for being a proud partner for the PRS family. Once again, use code PRSBOX at checkout. And once again, thank you so much to Team Foster for not only helping out this community, but also sponsoring the Team Foster 250. Well, Peter, you know, just got that stage caution come down pit road. We actually saw the 81 was in P3, came down pit road, gonna give up all that track position. Probably didn't like what he saw, but now it's gonna give that lead back to Oliver Quinney. Now Peter Hopp gonna be in that P2 position.
Yeah, Ford, Chevy front row, and you got to think a lot of guys use that stage caution to reset, figure their stuff out, maybe make changes on the car, obviously top up on gas. And now Oliver Quinney, he's got a fresh windshield ahead of him as the pace car is going to make a hard left into pit lane and hand it over to his Ford Mustang to lead him down.
Going down the restart zone, and Oliver Quinney will lead us back to green.
Ford help behind him there with Owen Lax. As drivers start to file to the bottom, I think we're going to see pretty similar to what we did earlier in the race, where it was single file for the majority of that first stage, or in the only stage of the first opening 25 laps, basically. And Quinney is going to be the flagship car to lead that bottom lane this time. And a lot of drivers who were up front last time have kind of fallen back. Obviously, Owen Lax, the winner, he is not. The winner of that stage, sorry, he is not. But the 11 of Max Ford, he probably got some of that damage fixed, and he's farther back. It's better to get that done earlier rather than later, so you have a car to make the moves at the end when you need to.
Well, yeah, I agree. You know, regardless of how much damage you are, I'm more of a proponent that every caution come down, take a little bit off, just continue to tick it down, because you'd hate to be in a spot where you somehow get yourself into the top 5, the top 10, racing for the win, and you pull out, and your car just turns into a parachute just because you have the damage. And people aren't going to work with you if they see damage on the car, especially at these super speedways, because they know how much it affects the handling and stuff of these cars and just the overall pace. So I agree. You know, I think it's smart if that 11 to maybe go down, and I think he probably did, because he's back there outside the top 10. To go down there, get some damage fixed, and try to, you know, have a little bit of a little wipe here as we after this first stage.
Yeah, and as Quinney continues to lead that time by completing lap 30, this is the stretch right now that these drivers were looking for. Those first 25 laps, it was like a trial run. It was like a second duel, basically. They got those 25 laps to just ride around, figure out what everybody else is going to do, who you can work with, how your car works in, outside the draft, all of that. Now 75 more laps to go and win the race. If we're going to see a green flag run, it's going to be now, but those drivers on the top want to keep it pushing, and they're actually making it work, and that's currently led by Gio Turpin on the high side in the 23 McDonald's Toyota.
Yeah, welcome to the top 3, Gio. You know, up 6 spots. Kind of had a quiet day. You know, was trying to help that top lane a little bit. Oh, a little bit sketchy back there. Are they going to save it? What a save by that car on the top.
The 0-0 there. Caleb Gordon, I believe that was. What a catch from him. Not often you get sideways on one of these on a super speedway and able to catch it. And Christian, I know that we both know how hard it is to save one of these next-gen cars, and you've been telling me they've made it even harder to do it now. So give him a hand to Caleb Gordon there for that save coming into the tri-oval.
Yeah, I definitely, you know, and you called it out perfectly there, Peter. I mean, with the new update, they made the car just like with the new tire model. It's not really the update of the car, but they made, you know, it feel like a little bit more realistic to how the car's driving in your life, where you're kind of sitting on the track instead of, you know, adhering to the track, I guess is what is the best term. And, you know, when you get sideways like that, it's super hard, especially with contact like that 0-0 had. It just makes it super hard to catch it like he did. So heck of a job by that 0-0, keeping it there and still up there, you know, trying to keep Sean, trying to push this top out.
And you can see the sparks come out as lights come on. Joshua Parent currently leading that high side. He wasn't in the duel, and I saw him in practice for this race. He was working with his teammates, getting a lot of 3-car tandem drafting in, and it was really fun to watch because they were really pushing and giving it pretty much all they had so they could figure out the limits of their cars, and currently he's using that to his advantage to lead the outside line, and sure, it's not being very fruitful at the moment to him, as the inside just has so much more help, but he's still getting that valuable experience out front, leading that outside lane.
I saw a car duck down on the pit road, and yeah, you made a really good point there. When you go out there and you practice, you know, pushing really hard, taking pushes really hard, it really does come in play when it comes down to the actual race. If you are a car that can take really good pushes and really aggressive pushes, it makes you so much, you know, it makes you so much more willing to work with people and people wanting to work with you. So, a little bit of a checkup on the bottom. We've seen that a couple times this race, but yeah, the more practice you get with being aggressive in general with these super speedways, makes you a lot more attractive when it comes to wanting to be worked with.
And as the top side continues to fall away, I think it's important to mention that those Quill Performance cars have all tacked on the tail end of this pack. They're in a line, 3 of them together, and it reminds me a lot of like JGR at the super speedways because they're known for just kind of hanging in the back at the start. And maybe they've decided, all right, we've been in a wreck. I don't think all of them had to use their fast repair. I think only Jacob Quill did, but they're all probably a little worried about it because without, you know, you lose Quill, that's one car. That could be the difference between your lane working and your lane not working. They're going to want to have all that teammate help at the end of this race. So maybe a smart move to ride around at the back of this pack and just hold on to the draft, save fuel, save tires, and save your car.
All those cool motorsports machines outside the top 30, but no, that doesn't really matter right now. You know, as long as you keep those cars together and clean, I don't really mind that. You know, they're doing what they need to make sure that they're still in the race at the end here. You see the 81. You know, he has shown that he's had speed, and he's also back here. There's a lot of big hitters back here outside of the top 20 just trying to ride around right now.
And back up front, guess who's jumped to the high side? It's Wyatt Youngblood in the one machine. He's not content sitting back, waiting. He obviously was the pole sitter for this race. He led a little bit at the beginning, just narrowly lost that stage win. And he is ready to go in that Chevrolet. He's got Chevrolet help, 4 of them lined up on the high side, trying to make whatever happen, basically, because that's what you can do at this point. It's just figure out what you got, ride around, but use those opportunities when they come to you, because you don't want to get to the end of this race and be like, oh, I don't know how my car's going to handle on the high side leading a lane, because that's a legitimate problem. So there's some benefit of sitting at the back, and there's also some benefit of being up front making moves, and you can see it working as he goes to the back bumper of Gio Turpin. That outside line starting to come back.
Yeah, I feel like it just takes like some of the good guys when it comes to these super speedways to get that top working. If you have guys that really don't know what they're doing or don't feel confident enough to push that lane out, it's going to stall out. But as soon as you get some of those guys who are a little bit more experienced, like we talked about in the pre-race, that top always seems to come back to life, and I feel like it's gonna take those experienced guys to continue to make that top work.
Oh, and you know who's behind Wyatt Youngblood? His two teammates. We talked about how much teammates were going to be. Caleb Gordon, Wyatt Thompson, both of them lined up behind him, and it's going to be really important. I mean, 100%, and obviously it's Gio Turpin leading that lane as Quinny goes up to try and peek at a block, but can't quite make it work. Turpin has his foot in the door, and Quinny has to go back down to the bottom to get help from his forward teammate. As they push right back ahead, Turpin falls back a little through the center of 3.
A good push out of the 60. That's going to get them both clear if they want it. And Gio still really locked up there. And now the bottom's starting to prevail just a little bit as they're 3 wide in the back.
Turpin, he's got some of that front damage that we saw, and I think Wyatt Youngblood has realized that. He's gone to the bottom. Gordon goes with him. And at this point, it's whoever can manage, whoever can get into these gaps that open up, because Turpin got out front, and like you said, just like a parachute, that front bumper, even a little bit of damage, that's all it takes. He's that much slower. And now Youngblood passes him, Gordon passes him, and he's still stuck on that high side.
And that's just a big proponent of damage, right? And that's the, once again, we talked about it, like Gio, I guarantee you knows he's got that damage. He's a very talented race car driver. She's very knowledgeable of how these cars drive. If he knows he has the damage, I'm not sure why he thinks it's the best move for him or like the people that are behind him to go up there and lead this top. If he knows he's got the damage and he knows it's going to slow him down, I'd just be content sitting in line, hoping for a caution so you can go down pit road and get this fixed. Sitting up right here, this is a big spot for you to get caught up in a wreck, right? You're going to see guys that are going to be a lot more aggressive trying to push because they see you're slower. And the harder you get pushed, the more danger you put yourself in.
Oh yeah, and it's just going to pull you back into the car that's behind you. So currently that's the 77 of Thompson. He almost doesn't have the option to get off the back bumper because that 23 is so much slower. So what if that 77 starts to overheat? He's got to duck his nose out. Maybe he catches, slides across the bumper. We've seen that happen so many times today. It opens up so much more chaos that can happen just because that 23 has damage and he's leading a lane.
Yeah, I mean, you were right on board with the 77. I mean, there's not really anywhere he can do. He either, takes him through and potentially gets left out, or you're just forced to sit back here, right? And you see him full throttle, and with this, with how the draft works, it's honestly kind of hard to get back to the back bumper, but that 23 is so slow, you'll see him, he'll give a shot, the 23 will kind of get going, and then he'll catch right back up to him on the straights just because of how slow he is.
Yeah, single file, basically top 10 as they work around the lap car of Salmon there on the high side. We saw him take the hard hit down the back straightaway, and that, I mean, just want to go back to that for a second. That's easily the biggest wreck that we've seen of this race. But with that fast repair, he's able to keep going. But unfortunately, he's been lapped now, but possibly we could see him come into play with some teammates. If he catches onto the back of this pack, he's teammates with Youngblood and Gordon and Thompson. So we've already seen them 3 get all hooked up together. If Salmon can tack on, work his way up, he might be able to help his teammates out even if he is a lap down.
Yeah, we see Salmon back there trying to tack on, but unfortunately hasn't been able to find a hole, and with the blinking, that also doesn't help, as we're going to get away from that. It's going to be hard for us to grab on him, but right now you see him, you see these 3 teammates still back here working, trying to just keep it safe.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot of shuffling mid-pack, basically right where that outside line starts. These top, 7 or so, 6, they have kind of broken away, and they're minding their own business, doing their own thing, but then on back, it's double file through the whole rest of the field, and it has kind of been a hornet's nest back there. I think some of these guys might need to calm down a bit, make sure you can get out of a wreck if one were to happen here. Make sure you're in a good spot. Keep that nose clean on the car, because at the moment, that top line has not produced any runs really since we got that going. Gio Turpin had the only really big run, and it got mired back after his speed difference from drafting up there eventually went away once that damaged nose got put in the fresh air. So currently, it's still Quinny leading, and he doesn't really have much of a threat on that high side.
Yeah, I mean, right now, you have that forward teammate behind you. You have that security of, this guy's has at least historically gone with Quinny throughout the whole race here. And I think that security, it really makes it easy for Oliver to just sit here in line, ride these laps out, and continue to just lead this race here as we catch some lap traffic.
Yeah, this is going to be much more of a difficult pass on the lap traffic than it was for Salmon. These guys are pretty up to speed. They're drafting together, and when this 2 wide group catches them, they're going to have to file to 3 wide, and it could really shape up how the middle of this pack develops here. 45, we're almost halfway through this race as they go 3 wide passing the lap cars.
Yeah, lap cars trying to be cordial, trying to keep it up there the best they can. You even see them getting to the wall a little bit, but you know, they'll fall back. You know, the speed difference is still good enough that they'll easily pass them, but you know, they were still up to speed enough. It made it just a little bit more difficult. But once again, this top lane trying to work. You see the 9 Devin Galvin leading this lane. Now you have the 47 trying to lead him back up. And you see now Kendorian Davis, we haven't talked about him that much, up inside the top 5.
Yeah, and I really like this top side currently. Mainly, not, I mean, the 9 car is doing an incredible job on the high side, but Mike Harmon Racing cars of Parent, Hatch, and Tittle have been working that top side, and they're all lined up there. 2 of them are together, and 1 has a car between them that's Turpin between the last one. So if they can possibly get hooked up, we've seen teammates work together extremely well. It's really helped both in the duel and in this race so far. I know we keep talking about it, but those Chevys have a lot of speed on the high side, and they might be a good reason why that top has made up a lot of ground in these last 2 laps.
I mean, teammates are always going to be the best way to push you up to the front, because for the most part, you know, teammates have raced with each other. They know how they want to be pushed. They know how to push. They know, you know, when to push, right? And obviously, if you're a teammate with someone, you're probably in some type of voice call or in some type of connection way to say like, hey, I'm getting hot. Hey, push me here. Hey, push me there. And the more information those drivers can get, the better that lane is going to be off.
Yeah, and you gotta think that they're also giving some information here to Devin Galvin. He's leading that outside line, and he's doing it absolutely flawlessly as he pulls up to the outside of the 60 machine of Lax. This is the farthest up we've seen the top side go in 20 laps or so. And now Quinny looks to block the high side, ducks down to the bottom, thinks better of it, and Galvin now has pulled up to second, noses out ahead of Quinny going into 1.
And the top has finally found its momentum and is up here side by side battling for the lead. And you see the 9, that top will have a little bit of a run out of the corner versus the bottom. That will have the advantage into the corner, but you'll see a huge run off the top coming down the backstretch.
Yeah, and Galvin gets that push there from Parent. Shoves him out front. Where does Galvin go? Does he stay up high? Does he drop low? He thought about dropping low on Quinny, but Quinny stuck his foot back in that door, and it really upset Galvin's run because he pulled back alongside of him, and now he's corner coming through the triover. They're going to be dead even drag race. That time by, I believe, the 9 car of Devin Galvin was top of the board, so we finally get to see somebody else take the top spot from Quinny.
Toyota out front that lap. Did you see the Ford duo right there? Just still continue to push as hard as they can to keep this bottom relevant. But you still see, you know, this 74 doing a heck of a job pushing this 9 out, especially down the straights here. And you got to think that has to be help from that teammate behind as well. You know, when you have 2 teammates being the pusher and the 3rd car in line, I definitely think that the 3rd car can be, you know, the make or break between this top working and not.
Yeah, and it's kind of become a stalemate at this point as no driver can really get the advantage. This time by, it's a deja vu of what we saw last time. And as they're going to get ready to climb the banking going into 1, it's actually Galvin who gets a nose out ahead, and you could say a car length out ahead. Now he gets a redo on what he had a lap and a half before. He stays high this time, doesn't even think about going low. Sticks with the help that got him up there, and is going to see if he could take him to the lead halfway at the line next time.
You'll continue to see the 9. I mean, and you see what that second line on the top do is he'll kind of peek that nose out to try to, you know, cool off a little bit, and then he'll get a run and try to push the line out. Obviously, you see the top starting to lose its help once again, and you know, you need a lot of numbers to get that top to work. Now you start to see the 9 drop back outside of the top 5, side by side with the 88 of Kendorian Davis.
Yeah, and now that we've had a little bit of a green flag run halfway this now, could we possibly see it go green flag pit stops? And if that is a possibility, who pits with who? Because you have your teammates, but you're going to have to pit with somebody else. If it's just your teammates, there's going to be a bigger pack that's going to beat you when it comes around and finally everybody cycles out. I think it's going to be whoever pits first, they might end up by themselves. Besides that, it's going to start dragging everybody else down with them, and it's going to be like a domino effect once we see one car dip down.
You see on the ticker, 24 laps since they came down pit road last. I could say you could go probably about, what, 25, 35 laps. That would be a question for our crew chief up here, JJ Moore. I'm not sure what the fuel mileage looks like for these drivers, but I would say you could be coming down within the next, what, 15 laps.
Yeah, JJ, do you have any info on us on what a fuel run is going to look like for these guys?
Sorry about that. Yeah, so if I'm correct, the math is about 25 to 30-ish laps, more or less, depending on where you're at in the pack. If you're out front, it's probably closer to 25, maybe like 26, 27. But some of these people that are riding about around the back, like Quill Speed Performance, may be able to stretch it 30 or possibly past 30.
That's great information there, and Christian, you kind of hit the nail on the head. But mentioning out front, the less fuel load that you're going to have out front, Quinny has been out front pretty much this whole entire run. Remember, he got the lead on the last pit stop, which was 26 laps ago. So he has got to be stretching this fuel as long as he can, and he might be the one that brings everybody else down with him.
Yeah, green flag pit stop's inevitable here within, I would say, the next couple laps.
I think I just heard the call from Quinny. I'm pretty sure Quinny just called over the radio 41 pitting this time. We'll see if that's accurate.
We'll see if the drivers continue to come down pit side. And so here they come.
Only a couple, though. Most of the pack stays out. Two of the Fords with Geo Turpin. One other. Oh, Quinny locked the brakes up. Was he too deep?
As we'll see. He dropped. Oh, caution out. That was a huge hit for that 9 machine. We'll have to go back and take a look and see what happened, but something catastrophic, to say the least. I mean, we saw everybody coming down, and that really ruins also. That kind of ruins the fuel cycle right there as well. Little blink. And, oh, man. I think that had to have done with the blinking. I mean, oh, man, and here comes the 61. The 09, nowhere to go. It looked like a blink thing, you know. He blinked, and it looked like, in my opinion, the 44 didn't even touch him in a really bad spot. And it just sent him around for the ride there, unfortunately.
He thought it was over. Not quite.
We saw some
One
drivers
thing
come.
I would like to note, sorry to interrupt, but those people that did pit right there, I think Owen Lax was one of them, Ryder Morgan, and obviously Oliver, who got the penalty, I think. Those guys are going to be able to cycle back out front because I think they were able to stay in the lead lap there. So I think they will be able to get back out front, which really does save their race.
And it sure does. But if you're Quinny, you've got to be kicking yourself because you just got a ticket to the front row of a restart with less than half of this race left, and you sped in the pit lane. And that's going to hurt. I could not tell quite, but I think he may have gone a lap down from that penalty.
We can definitely take a look here. And I'm not sure. Right here you see Quinny.
When he went one lap, down. He's gonna probably get it back.
Yeah, it does look like he'll get it back. He was able to stay out, luckily, because he already pit. I think he is a lap down now, but he will get the wave around on the pace car and get one of those laps back, or that lap back.
Yeah, you see the 41 of Quinny right there. Yeah, 1 lap down, but I'm not sure.
Not gonna get it back.
I mean, we saw him right there, and now he's giving up the spots here. You see Quinny letting these guys who came down pit road by. I'm very shocked because I think he was the car behind the pace car. I felt like he should get the wave there, but looks like iRacing's telling him to stay behind these drivers. It looks like he's sitting behind that 23 of Gio Turpin.
Man, if he does not get this wave, that is going to be... He's going to be kicking himself for that. I mean, almost... Your race gets thrown up in the air on that pit stop, and then you get the opportunity to possibly get it back. And might not get the wave. And Quinny is being... His iRacing is telling him to sit back there. Race Control's currently getting it figured out on what the call should be, because obviously we're a little baffled up in the booth here about where Quinny should be, because we both, I think, thought he was getting a wave around here.
I mean, he was the first car behind the pace car. Everybody else came down and pitted. He was sitting right there, and it's telling him to let these guys by. I don't see a black flag on this number 41 at all. So it's a little baffling to see that he's being told to let these guys by and not allowed to get back on the lead lap. I don't know if maybe that penalty kind of avoided him from being able to do that. I don't think iRacing has that feature, but yeah, very interesting by the sim to tell this 41 to go to the back. No, but this is a game changer, right, for this 41 up there leading the race. Literally goes from leading to 1 lap down within the span of 2 laps.
And not only is it a game changer for him, but it's everybody else up there. I mean, he has literally dominated the first half of this race since that stage caution. And now you got to look at somebody like Owen Lax. He's spent the majority of this race pushing. He's now leading the inside line. So Oliver Quinny getting that penalty, he led 24 out of 56 laps, as you can see. That is, I mean, a good chunk of the race, and that was literally since our last caution. So he's kept that nose clean, and for it to just go up and smoke like that, he's going to have to do a lot of work to get it back.
Yeah, unfortunate for the 41, but no, I mean, that's the worst timing possible. Like, not only did you get a caution while you were trying to pit, you got a penalty while you were trying to pit with the caution coming out. So obviously not over for that 41. He can get a lucky caution, make sure he stays out of the wreck, get that wave around, get that lucky dog, and he'll be right back into this. But they will hand the lead back over to a forward front row. You see the 16 and the 17, 2 teammates going to lead us back to green.
Keep an eye on Gio Turpin, because that was a green flag pit stop he had. He was not able to get that damage repaired. That car is still going to be a parachute in open air, but he's not in it right now. He's second on the outside, so he might still be a great pusher. Pace car in and into the restart zone. Owen Lax gets to lead him down for the first time today.
Pretty decent start by the top, and that's with team communication. You see the 60 jump up, going to grab his teammate in the 17. 17's not quite clear. That's going to allow the 55 of Golly to go down there and lead this bottom.
Yeah, rough push to the back of the 60 of Lax through, going into 1 and 2, and as they drop down the banking, the 55, we saw him up front in the duel. Gabriel Golly, he had a fast car in that yellow and white Ford Mustang. He's trying to prove it once again with help from Max Ford. Top 2 drop down to the bottom. Teammates Ryder Morgan and Owen Lax now lead.
As Max tries to take it 3 wide and puts the 61 and the 67 and the 23 in a bad spot. And there goes the 23, trying to back his way up to the top lane there. And the 67 back up here in the top 5.
Ford's car looks very unstable in line. It looks like that car is struggling to hold the bottom. And I don't know if he still has some residual damage that never got fixed on that car, and it's just not planted, but he looks like he's struggling a little bit. Maybe if he gets tucked to the back bumper there of goalie, it'll help that car out. Now to the outside goes the 17. Didn't expect to see this now. Owen Lax has some challenge.
I think the 60 honestly just let him go. I don't know. Maybe the 60 is trying to let his teammate lead some laps. I'm not sure if there's a little lead lap bonus for leading laps here in the Cup Series, but no, that might be a thing here. Maybe the 60 likes being the pusher. Remember, he's so used to pushing that 41 that maybe he's like, hey, I'll let you go lead, and I'll do what I think I can do best to help this team out, and just let that 17 go, and he's going to push this bottom lane out.
Yeah, and Lax has obviously got a lot of experience pushing, and Christian, I know me and you have done plenty of play races across the service over many years, and this is always how we worked. I mean, every single time it was normally me out front, you pushing me, and it helped us a lot. So maybe that is what they're doing. Lax feels more comfortable pushing, and he's going to try and push his teammate to victory lane with 40 laps to go.
And we might have had some incidents. We've seen the 44 of Preston Salmon has towed to the pits. Maybe something out of the ordinary, but we do see now 2 packs have formed as some of these guys have dropped off the back end. As see the 30th on back has lost the lead draft.
Yeah, and currently it's going to make it really...
That's going to be interesting to see what they can do. Obviously, 7 cars, especially with this new update, is not going to make it work. They could be the best pushers. They could be Coke Series drivers, and they are not getting up to the field. And you've seen even that 7-car pack now spring out to now 3 cars as we get the caution. As we'll take a look and see what happened. As we see... I'm not sure what that... if we can find what that caution was for.
I saw one car stopped on the bottom as we were watching that back pack. It was obviously in the front pack. I heard some drivers talking about not being clear over the radio, so maybe something happened where a driver cut down across somebody else.
See that the 62 had received a meatball on our timing and scoring. We'll see if he can...
It's the blue car on the high side, I think, was the one stopped, the 84. Oh, man.
Oh, man, the 45. Alex Eskridge looked really good in the clash. Getting caught up in something. That's a tough hit for that driver. I mean... Hadn't heard a lot from the 45 this race. I think he was one of those guys who were just trying to ride around, keep that car clean. And you're gonna see right there the 3 car go up there, just hook him. Not clear.
He's out of the session. He's completely left. So that's a race killer right there.
You know where for the 84 to go? Yeah, I mean it's.
You think the 3 car of Rhodes was just trying to get back to his teammates? I mean, if we can get another look at it, his teammates were in front of that. They were the 2 cars ahead. So maybe he was just trying to get back to them. We saw them all doing bumper to bumper through that whole entire, basically, race.
Yeah, I mean, that could definitely be a thing to look at. I mean, we'll look at the review end of this Jacob Quill machine. And, oh, man, it almost looks like in that angle, the 45 came down. So... It's going to be tough because you see, I don't know, it's you know, this is what you call a racing duel, right? Just 2 guys going for the same spot. Looked like the 3 was trying to get back with his teammates and made contact with that 45.
We do have some pit stops. Gabriel Goli is one of them that came in, and remember, he was up front. Pitted from the 5th position. And now that 55 is going to be farther back, but maybe a little better on fuel than everybody else.
Yeah, maybe that goalie machine, once again, did not feel comfortable being up there, you know. For me, like, I wasn't, until, you know, I got a lot more super speeders under my belt, and you could attest to this, Peter. I was a big guy of just riding in the back, and then when it was time to go, me and you would drive through the field, right? And maybe this is something that this 55 is a big proponent of, right? He didn't like what he saw up front. He said, I'm going to go down, pit, you know, get some top off on fuel, maybe make this potential green flag run stretch a little bit longer than the rest. And, you know, we're still barely over halfway. Still a lot of racing to go still.
Yeah, and I think another group of people who's a big proponent for riding at the back is the MHR machines of Tittle Hatch and Parent, because they pitted there, topped off on everything, and we've seen them work together throughout this whole race. Tittle and Hatch are connected. They're going to be next to each other on the restart, and Parent's a couple more cars back. But obviously, they're setting themselves up to be together at the end of this race when they can make a run and charge to the front.
I mean, we've seen these guys, like you said, Peter, work together, these teammates. I mean, and like we said, this is what it comes down to is, can you get your teammates together here at the end of the race? Can you get them in a line? Can you do whatever you need to go and make a move here? We saw these guys go up their race up towards the front. Now back here, outside of the top 20 for some of these drivers. Now can they, you know, get connected, right? We're not in range to go all the way on fuel, and I think that's a big reason why some of these guys stayed out. You know, maybe you could say, you know, JJ, our crew chief up here in the booth, said you could maybe stretch maybe the like 35, right? So maybe that's the strategy for some of these guys. They're going to sit in the back. They're going to try to go half throttle, stay in the draft, and maybe cut out a pit stop completely.
Yeah, I do feel most of those guys that pit were kind of mid-pack. There wasn't really anybody up in, I'd say, the top 10 that pit that I saw. So I'd say it was a pretty good strategy call from them, because it would either be that they're at the back now, they plan to stay at the back for most of the race and possibly save a couple laps. You may be able to squeak out 35. I'm not exactly sure. But then also, if not, those people that pit could link up into a pack and possibly pit later, shorter pit stop, or they could pit with the rest of the pack and just have a shorter pit stop, try and jump some people in pit road. So definitely a call if you didn't necessarily have track position there under that caution.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, back to the front, Ryder Morgan started 19th on the field. He's worked his way up. He's obviously got the teammate help with him. And we haven't really talked about him much. We didn't talk about him really at all in the duel. And I've really liked the way he's worked his way up through the field. He's been methodical, and he's gotten here later in the race instead of pushing it to super early. And now he gets to lead the field on the outside, and he took the outside here. You got to think that he's playing some strategy games to get down in front of his teammate.
You got to think so. And as we get back going to green, I mean, you kind of put it to a T here. He did it methodically. We didn't even talk about him until he got up here into the front row. As we're back green, we'll see. 17's got to wait till the start-finish line. And here he goes. Drops right in front of his teammate in the 60. That 60 is going to link back up with that 11 machine. Going to push this 17 up, going into turn 1 and 2.
And there's the checkup on the bottom as they caught back up to Morgan. The top side gets a little bit of a surge as the bottom starts to back up. But now, as they roll out of the corner, it's the bottom still hooked up much more than the high side, getting the advantage, but the 67 is not going away. Remember how much we talked about Reeve Simmons in the duel? We talked about him the first half. He had that one mistake that sent him to the back. He got stuck 3 wide, and now he's back to leading the outside with less than 35 laps to go here at Daytona.
67 has looked strong all speed weeks. Now up here in contention to try to race for a win. We saw Jacob Quill in the back try to make it 3 wide. Ducks back in line. No help coming to that number 33 machine. But with all that said and done, you start to see the bottom start to do its thing that we've seen here at the start of these restarts. Start to slowly pull away here to the 17 and the 60, followed by that 11 machine. Going to round out your podium.
And is it now time for those Quill Performance cars to push to the front? We see Jacob Quill, as I say that, goes to the top. Zero help. Absolutely nobody. Now Max 4 jumps to the high side to go lead that top line, but the Quill machines have looked really good. They're not as hooked up as they were earlier in the race, and maybe Jacob Quill is trying to drop back to get that help once again. But when do you make that move if you're one of those drivers who's right around at the back this whole race?
I mean, JJ kind of put through a T. If you can maybe stretch it, I don't even care about track position. If I can stretch it and not have to pit at all, I don't really care what these guys up here are doing, right? I mean, we're already starting to see potentially, you know, another pack forming behind. It's going to be close if they can catch back up. But, and if they do get separated, we'll definitely document that. But right now, if I'm one of those guys who came down and pitted and they're trying to save fuel, I'm just content sitting back there and trying to get to that, you know, 33 to go lap marker on my fuel gauge.
And that pack at the back is led by those 3 MHR cars. And I think this is exactly characteristic of what they've been doing this whole entire race. Ride around, you know, just work together and save your stuff. And like JJ said, like you said, save that gas, because we could possibly see this become a fuel mileage race. You don't hear it a lot at Daytona because it's normally chaotic, but this field has done a phenomenal job keeping it together through this latter 3/4 of this race, and it's going to really probably be those drivers who can stretch it to the end.
We talked about trying to stretch it to the end, and now I think these Quill machines are starting to show their hand. And look at them, top of 3 wide, all by themselves, trying to get the track position back. You see the 33 leading that top, getting pushed by the 8, and you see that 3 in the back, trying to keep up pace, trying to push that top up front.
And 3 random cars on the high side is one thing, but when you have 3 teammates linked up there, there's so much more of a force. These drivers who are out front, such as Lax, such as Morgan, and the drivers on the high side there is like Gordon, they're going to look at those guys differently than 3 random drivers, because they can work together a little better, they can form those runs, and you could even make so much more happen if you're just in a call with somebody, even though you have less cars.
Well, and they could also do what they're doing right here. They looked like they were going to help push this top, and then drivers went up there, and they know that the top was not working. They said, okay, I'm going to look like I'm going to go top, and the second you do, I'm taking all 3 of my cars, and I'm coming down, and you guys are going to the back. Look what they...
That's that slow, methodical work that we just talked about that Morgan was able to pull off, is just kind of bait people into giving you positions, and it is working right now for those Quill cars as they go back to the top, see if anybody blocks it. Now it's a 4-car tandem on the high side. They're starting to gain a little more help as we go to 30 to go.
Yeah, I mean, you see the 8 all over the rear end of that 33, and, you know, when it comes to teammates, we talked about this. This is about trust now when it comes to 30. Obviously, still a lot of racing, still a potential green flag pit stop underway, but this is about trust. Quill needs the biggest pushes he can to help keep this top going. It's because we've seen time and time again, this right up against the wall is not the place you want to be. Even when you get 3 wide, I think if we get 3 by 3 by 3, you know, 9-10 rows deep, if we would get that, I think the middle line is actually the best place to be, because you're kind of control where the side draft goes, on the bottom, on the top, and you can kind of put your car where you need to be. But you see now, those 3 teammates cannot make it work. They're going to drop back into that second top lane, if you want to call it that.
I love this fuel talk. Right now, Ryder Morgan, and he's leading his team on the bottom with help from Owen Lax, but you have to take into account the fact that they have led so much more than everybody else. They have so much more open air on that car, and that means more fuel burned if you want to keep up your pace. Right now, Ryder Morgan is not really wasting time. He's keeping that front. Caution's going to wave, actually, so scrap that. We're going to get a pit stop. Oh, and they're wrecking for the... Oh, my goodness, the leader... Not the leaders, but the lead pack just also had an incident slowing down. Ooh, crashing.
We'll have to take a look at that. I saw a lot of damage on that 8 machine of Trevino. And we're going to have to find out what happened here. And then we'll take a look at that separate wreck that happened slowing down. Chopper cam once again. Old reliable. Oh man.
Metro City over here.
I mean, Trevino has had, you know, several occasions where he's blinked out and he's had some connection issue, and this is, and we've seen it a lot in iRacing. I mean, there's nothing that us in the booth can explain what happened there. I mean, you see the 95 just slightly go up the track, and that was enough for iRacing to call it a contact. And you know, I feel bad for everybody involved. Luckily, it looks like a lot of guys were able to drive through this 8 machine. But we'll go back up towards the front here. I didn't see
It started with the 84, I think. The 85, sorry, the white car on the bottom. Oh, man.
Let's go back with the 00. Caleb Gordon got a piece of this. So just to check up, the 16 gets into the back of the 85 and comes up into the 00. The 86 involved. The 16 is involved as well. Oh, they might get a penalty for that. Yeah, that's what.
Remember, Gavin Smith just got sent to the back not that long ago for blinking issues. Well, I say not that long ago. It was actually pretty early in the race. And he's worked his way back up just for that to happen under yellow. Very, very... I mean, that's 3 cars with major damage. You could see the 85 had a toe link broken on the left front. And that's just not even something you account for. You don't account for wrecking... Oh, my goodness! And they've just had a wreck in the pit lane, and Wyatt Youngblood is involved.
See the 73?
Oh, my...
We'll take a look at this on the replay as well. We have the static cam. We'll try to take a look from the 73s on board. I think that's kind of the big guy to look for here.
He may have gotten tagged by Trevino coming into his box.
So you see the 73 coming into his box. Gets hooked by Trevino.
Youngblood nowhere to go.
Youngblood nowhere to go, and then I don't know what the 73 was doing here. Just nowhere to go for that 67. I mean,
my God,
I mean, he just turned down the track right in front of everybody on pit road. Good job by the 17 to get around that. Good job by the 95 to get on the binders. He still gets a little bit of left front damage, but I'm not sure what the 73 thought he was doing there, trying to do that. I don't know.
You know, I can't think of another caution in my whole commentating career that is any more chaotic than this one. We've had 5 or so lead drivers who have gotten damage under this yellow. Wyatt Youngblood in that pit road incident, the 67 there, that was a lot of damage. And he was so fast earlier in this race. I mean, he had a ton of speed. Reef Simmons was so good here and in the duel, and we just talked about him. And for something like that to happen on pit lane, there's nothing you can do. It's just, you don't even know what to be mad at, you know? I mean, you know to be mad at the driver, but it's so random. You don't even expect it. It's a shock to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I don't know what to say, right? I mean, everybody knows that, like, when you turn left to get in the box, you got to be clear. That's going to happen, right? And even then, like, iRacing gives you a lot of leeway, right? Once you get into that pit box area, you go invisible to everybody else so that you don't make contact. It's not like, you know, iRacing's predecessor in NR 2003 where you can make contact even when you're inside of your box. In iRacing, once you get inside that box area, you're completely invisible, and you can drive through who you want. And it's just shocking to me to see that, you know, everybody here seems like they know what they're doing. We've had a lot of green flag racing, and for that to happen is just kind of mind-blowing to me to see that.
This top 10 has really shaped up differently than we saw even 20 laps ago. Sure, there's some names up there who were there, you know, not that long ago. Gio Turpin, you know, the 60 Machinabo and Lax, the 1 of Wyatt Youngblood, but holy cow, look at Tyler Helms in the 48 out front. Zach Case is going to restart 4th. Jacob Quill, he's been riding at the back all day. Now he's going to restart 5th with 25 laps to go.
Jacob Quill's back up here in the top 5. Doesn't really have any help from teammates. I see the 3 back there in the back shot. But besides that, Jacob Quill is by himself, probably for the first time up here. You know, he's been really consistent about keeping his teammates close, but has no help right now.
It's going to be interesting to see what he's going to be able to do. The pace car is going to follow that white line into the pit lane, and it's going to be in the hands of Tyler Helms in the 48. for the first time today into the restart zone. Big shove there from Owen Lax. And under the green flag, they're going to go. Helms with a big shot.
25 to go here at Daytona. And this is, you know, we talked about this. Everybody is good on fuel now from that caution. It's just going to be a rerun of that first stage, right? I mean, we kind of just split this race into 4 quarters. And now with 25 to go, we're going to see who can be aggressive, who can get their back up, who can get themselves back up to the front. And now all the way single file throughout the top 10.
And are you truly good on fuel at this point? 25 to go. 25 was around the laps that we saw the leader hit last time that we actually got green flag pit stops. I think they could make it to the end, but green-white checkers, Tyler Helms, if he keeps running out front, he might not have enough fuel left for a green-white checkered if we were to get one. Do you account for that right now, try to save at the moment, or do you just tackle that problem if it gets here?
Well, if I'm in Tyler's shoes, I would honestly tackle it when it gets there. Obviously, he's kind of up there on his own. He doesn't have any teammates to deal with. Obviously, we've seen Owen kind of want to be in second place the entire race. He's been a very good pusher. And I don't know if Quill has necessarily any teammates up there to help him out. But if I was Tyler, I would just kind of play it out. If he winds up running low on fuel, maybe he can communicate to someone near him. Maybe he can get someone on that outside lane to come up and maybe get a huge run and drop down in front of him. But I do think it'll be close for him. Like you said, 25 laps. That's more or less how much fuel you'll get in clean air. So it'll be very close for Tyler if he can make it.
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what he can do. And I mean, I agree with JJ here. I would deal with the issue if it arises, right? I'm not going to give up the lead just because I think I might run out, right? If I run out, I run out at the end of the day. And right now he has to worry about keeping this car out in front. Looks like he's got a good pusher in that 60. He's done a great job all race pushing whoever is out there in front. And you got Jacob Cole back there leering. You have Gio Turpin, even with that damage, sent back there in that 4th place spot.
Yeah, and Christian and JJ, we talked about it in the pre-race for the duels, about how we thought this race was going to go. We thought it was going to be kind of gridlocked a little bit, you know, harder to pass, and it has been completely different. The runs have been pretty big when they do come, and it's been a lot of single file. It's really kind of been the opposite of what I think our expectations were coming into this.
Yeah, I figured, you know, we would... Oh, so we have Petitcharek in the back, the 95!
Oh. And a 67 is involved once again. Cannot catch a break there for Reeves. Simmons.
Reeves has been, you know, one of the guys, I thought one of the guys to beat here. And, you know, sometimes you have that luck, right? Where you put yourself in the right spot to go up there and win, and you get caught up in every little thing. So we'll go back and take a look at this wreck involving the 95 and see what happened here. Coming to the start, going into turn 1 and 2 here. See the 95 all over the back end of the 00. Ooh, maybe some more netcode, I think.
You know, and also, with how much these cars are bottoming out in the corners, and you come off the corner, it really unloads a lot. So if you're in the back of somebody, it can put a lot of weight on the rear end, and when the rear end floats around on the exit of the corner, it really will mess up your exit, like big time, to where you're spinning like the 95 was there. I don't know if that was quite it. If you got into the back of the 00 just at the wrong time and it turned him around. Oh yeah, you might be right about the neck kill there.
And like we said earlier in the race, it's super easy to, you know, it's not as easy as it used to be to save the car. Like, you can, you know, back before this update, you could kind of yaw it out, and if that happens, you can maybe try to correct it. But as soon as you get to that certain angle of spin, there's nothing you can do. You just you're around for the ride. And you know, it's a lot more realistic, because I felt like some of the times, especially here on the sim, you could save, you know, borderline unsavable cars here. And you know, especially some of these guys who are a lot more talented than I am on the sim could, I mean, have it completely yawed out and save it somehow. And you don't see that out of anybody in this new next gen car in your life. So I think that's something that was cool that they fixed, but also, you know, if you're the guy wrecking, you're probably not a big fan of that right now.
Yeah, and I think it hands down is one of the hardest cars to save on the surface, or at least on the oval side. And it's kind of been that way since it came out. Like, it always was harder to save than, like an Xfinity car or a truck. But, I mean, like you said, there's been multiple times I can think of across the pro scene with these next gens. I mean, one that pops into my head was Wyatt Tinsley had an incredible save at Darlington a couple years ago, where the car was sliding through the whole entire length of turn 1 and 2. And that is just not something you see anymore in these cars. It just doesn't happen. They're so much more on edge once they break past that line of out of control. And you get moments like that where the 95 just is trying to fight it, trying to catch it, and around he goes.
Something we didn't even get to talk about. I don't know when he did it, but somehow, some way, Oliver Quinney is back on the lead lap here and 13th place. So probably through those cautions that came out, he was the first car lap down. Now you see him back on the lead lap, back in the game here with 20 to go.
And who's in front of him? Gabriel Goli. I want everybody to look back at the duels, because that was a dynamic duo in the duels. I mean, Goli and Quinney were working together incredible in that race, and they might have something for the rest of this field if they can get locked up bumper to bumper and try and cut through the pack. We don't have much to go. It's going to be under 20 to go when we go back green. This rest of this race is pretty much what we saw a couple hours ago in the duel.
I definitely agree. You're starting to see the cream start to rise to the top. Someone we didn't even recognize who left early. Tyler Curley, your last week's winner, out of this race, got caught up in a wreck and decided to park it. So unfortunate for Tyler, but like we thought that he was maybe the guy to beat coming into Daytona after showing how good he could drive through the field, how dominant he was last week at USA or Lakeland. But Curley, not a good start to the season.
Yeah, and his whole entire, speed week has been very up and down, and he had a rough duel earlier today where he got involved in multiple incidents and still managed to do, all right. He was up towards the front when that last wreck broke out, and he was a part of it. So it's unfortunate to see him out here so early, because I think, Christian, both me and you were really excited to watch him climb up through the field.
Yeah, racing with Tyler, I talked about this last week. Racing with Tyler, following him on his social medias, I knew he was quick. I know he's going to be aggressive, and I was really looking forward to, not being biased at all, but I was really looking forward to broadcasting a league that he's in, because he does a really good job on social media, on his Instagram racing account, updating everybody on like how he's doing, and obviously really talented race car driver. It sucks to see him out of the race early, but and having to dig yourself out of the hole here out of Daytona. I mean, it's something that none of these drivers want to do. You want to come in here and at least survive to the end to hopefully get a decent finish out of here, so you have going into next week looking up somehow, versus Tyler, who's going to have to dig himself out of hole early here in the season.
I just want to mention JJ shouted out Tyler Helms back in the duels about how he was going to be really fun to watch, and now a couple hours later he's up front leading at Daytona, and I would say his fuel problem is probably out the window with that caution now that he's had these laps under yellow to save. Probably has enough to even make a green-white checkered or two if it comes about, but only time will tell. Pace car takes a hard left in a pit lane, and it's going to hand it over to that Chevy.
The 48 and the 60 front row going to lead us back to green. Now coming to 18 to go at the World Center of Racing. It's time to go. I feel like now, Peter, you're getting down to that time where you have to start to find your guys, find the people that you want to work with. It's not time to go, but it's time to start thinking about going. It's time to start telling people, okay, where can I go? Where can I link up with you? Do I need to drop to the back to go pick you up? This is this time of the race where you start to plan out the finish of this race.
And I really like Owen Lax here. He's one of these drivers who's up front, who's been up front this whole entire race. He has the experience of being in the lead of this pack, while all these other drivers have spent a lot of it riding around, saving their stuff. So Owen Lax, with that up front experience, he knows how to make these runs work, obviously because he's shown it. He's got there and he's stayed there. I think he's definitely going to be a force to reckon with, especially if he can get hooked up with his team owner of Ryder Morgan, who's a car back from him. It's Jacob Quill in between them.
And Jacob Quill's a very smart super speedway driver. He knows that he's got 2 teammates sandwiching him. So I guarantee you, if you see that 60 and that 17 go up, that 33 is going to leave that 48 out, regardless of, you know, manufacturer teammates. That's starting to come out of the window as well. I think when you get down to 10 to go, unless you have like a teammate, I don't think manufacturers mean anything anymore.
And Oliver Quinn, he's jumped up to the high side. He's stuck in between the MHR cars, who are once again linked up. They've proven that they can do it. Now it's time to really get there. Jacob Quinn goes to the high side. Help there from the 24 of Peter Hopp. And that outside line starts to really form up. It's Chevy's leading both.
Yeah, Jacob Quill, one of the better super speedway drivers that we've seen, you know, has been able to work with his teammates to get up to the field. Super big jiggle out of the 60. That's going to kill the bottom. 48's going to have to come up and block. Jacob Quill's going to hook the 48.
It's going to be a big wreck down the back. Owen Lax is involved. 10 or so cars in this one. Quinny is in it. The 95, Max Ford. Car's still hitting hard in the back. Oh my goodness.
And we'll take a look at that. We saw right here, plain and clear, looking from the chopper cam once again. Something happened to that 60 machine.
Bad push, I think, from his teammate.
Yeah, they're tandeming.
Pushing the pusher.
Pushing the pusher. You cannot, right there. Little hook.
Oh.
At the lift.
Save.
Good save by the 60, and then the 48 was nothing he could do. 48, oh, neck code again, maybe. Dang.
I think he swiped the bumper, and we talked about how much the air can upset these cars. It almost looks like he just swipes the bumper.
We'll see. I mean, it was an aggressive block out of the 48. I'll give Jacob Quill that. But yeah, it's too close to call for my liking. I don't really know.
I mean, I don't think any driver is at fault. I think that's what you have to do with 15 to go at Daytona.
No, you lost your help. You lost your help on the bottom. The top is coming with the run. You have to do something, or you're going to the back, right? I want to ride on board right here, maybe. I don't think any contact was made. I just think, once again, that was a weird iRacing thing where iRacing thought that Jacob Quill, yeah, I don't think he made any contact with that 48. It reminds me a lot of that Michael McDowell Talladega finish where, you know, he went up to go block Brad Keselowski, and he kind of lost it on his own. That's exactly what it looks like in my eyes. And I'm not sure if iRacing really has that feature loaded into the game, but the sim, my apologies.
Well,
But
I mean, I know I've talked about it a bunch, but the cars do get really light coming off the corner. And if the air is in the wrong spot, it will upset the car. And I definitely think, you know, moving the 48 up that abruptly has got to move the weight around in the car in a way that is not going to handle great coming off the corner. And if you even just get a little bit of air in the wrong spot, it could pull him towards Jacob Quill. I mean, I know in some of the cars that have a little more aggressive side draft on the surface, such as the ARCA car, you can literally feel yourself get pulled into the car next to you. And I know these don't have quite as much side draft, but maybe we could have just seen a hint of it there.
I definitely agree that that is something that can happen. It's something we've seen happen before, especially in the next gen, especially back when the side draft was a lot more prevalent. I mean, we saw back before this update, I would feel like the side draft was too much in these next gens, where you could physically feel like yourself getting pulled back and pulled back and pulled back if someone would just lean on that right rear. So definitely something that could have happened, and unfortunately for, you know, that number 48, we'll take a look at him. I mean, he's still right out here on track. I think he might have saved that fasty, and it looks like a brand new car for me.
Well, I mean, that's smart to save it. I think Owen Lax had one saved too. I can't imagine he used his already. So that's probably good for him too, but man, a lot of good contenders taken out really late in this race.
Regardless, I handed Peter Hopp over the race lead, and kind of got through this. We have, you know, the 44 back here, and he has his teammates back there in 5th and 6th. You know, Jacob Quill was able to obviously get through that wreck since, you know, he was right in the middle of it. He was able to drive around, and then you have the 17 who was back up here. But I'm really looking at the 74, you know, the 47 and this 44 machine all up here inside the top 6 now. Look for them to, you know, start to take advantage of the numbers game here.
Oh, I love the strategy that they've played throughout this race. Those MHR cars have steadily been together this whole entire race and steadily working their way up through the field. They've kind of been doing like what the Quill performance cars were planning on doing, it looked like, but they've executed it just that bit better. And now, like you said, they have all 3 of their cars in the top 6. This is a prime opportunity for them to swipe a win away from somebody who's been up front here a lot of this race, such as Hop, such as Ryder Morgan, who now doesn't even have a teammate up here. It's so much has happened in these last 25 laps that has shaped up this front of this pack.
I definitely agree. It's you know, you got some new guys that are up here and have shown their face here in the last, you know, 20 laps. And it's the right time to do it, right? We talked about putting yourself in a situation where you're here at the right time. We talked about it in the pre-race. You don't have to be up here leading, you know, in the first half. As long as you can get your car to the finish, that's all that really matters. And that's what's mattering. You know, you see these Mark Harmon racing machines, they really weren't up here, at least in the top 5-ish, like contending for the lead until now, right? 13 to go. Perfect timing for some of these drivers to start to make their way up to the front.
No doubt about it. Pace car driver is going to yank the wheel to the inside and take it to the safety of pit lane. But out on track, it's going to be a hornet's nest, all led by Peter Hop into the restart zone. And the green flag's going to wave for the first time today. The Chevy Atlanta Exalta 24 is going to lead with the help of Jacob Quill. A great start for both of those.
And those two basically tandeming on the start is going to get those two very clear. And the 74 going to actually get a good jump with them. He's going to come up and jump in front of his teammate.
Look at that move on the bottom to get up there. I don't think that was quite planned, but it worked out for them. And this has been exactly what we've seen. It's normally these 3 cars, but there's always one in between somewhere. Now the top side starts to form as the 85. And the 85, remember, he was involved in that big wreck that happened under caution. He's worked his way back up into the top 10.
Yeah, Giger has done a great job working himself back up there. You see the 11 giving him huge shoves now. We're getting into that territory where that 3rd lane is going to start to be used. We don't know if it's going to be faster, but right now, it is starting to make some headway.
And it's going to be exciting to watch if they're going to be able to make that work. Hatch gets pushed out ahead there by David Tittle, ahead of Peter Hop, but Hop sticks his nose back to the inside with help from Quill. It's a drag race out of turn 2. 85 car on the high side now has the run with help from Ford. 3 wide for the lead at Daytona with 10 laps to go at the line.
85 with the run off the momentum. Will he try to get down and clear? No. It's 3 by 3 going into turn 3. It's 85. He's clear if he wants. He's going to go down and drop to the bottom.
Brandon Kiger, what a move to the front for him. Behind him here at Daytona.
10 to go at Daytona. You see the 24 now going to go up there and try to push that 85 out in front. And a huge push. I cannot believe he saved that. Continuing to have this through wide work.
This is really unsteady there with the MHR cars pushing each other, trying to find anything as the top side dies away. 1 car in the wall, collects a couple more in the back. The 95 was one of them. The caution's going to wave once again.
Oh, we saw the 95 get a little squirrely.
I think the 66 was also involved. That's Zach Case. Oh my goodness, and Case just got tagged again after the caution.
See him roll that up the track and back down the track. We'll take a look and see. I mean, unfortunate set of circumstances. 3 by 3. I mean, we're gonna see that happen. I mean, it's time to go. We're now under 10 laps to go, and right there, we'll take a look at your at that 95 machine. That Beekman I don't know if he got squirrely on his own or what happened here. We'll try to once again go back to that chopper cam. I feel like it's the best camera we have to properly look at some of these wrecks.
Yeah, great camera work here. Oh, the 3-car got the wall right in front of him, checked him up, he came down.
You see, oh, the 00 is going to tag someone up there, and let's go back to that 66 car as he gets tagged once again. We'll see what happens here.
He gets tagged really late.
Oh, man.
Adrian Gold loses it in the grass.
This is in the grass, going to tag it. I don't think, well, I was going to say until he comes up and trying to correct it, gets up in the outside wall once again. But once again, caution's going to be out. Now going with 9 to go, I mean, this is kind of now what we're going to have, probably what I'm going to assume is going to be a Clash-like couple of laps where we had a lot of aggressiveness, people trying to get up through the field. Because now we're not racing for a Clash. When we're racing for the big ticket item, we're racing for the win of the Team Foster 250. And we're going to see some aggressive driving from these next, 6 laps when we go back green?
Yeah, in the most recent Week 13, iRacing added a series called the 5 to Go. This is exactly what these guys are going through, except so much more is on the line. They're trying to win in a 41-car field with only a handful of laps to go here at Daytona after 100. This is going to be prime time. If you're going, you put all your chips on the table right now because there might not be another shot.
Yeah, if you have teammates, you take advantage of them. If you don't, you make teammates right now. It doesn't matter if you're a Ford pushing a Chevy. It doesn't matter if you're a Toyota pushing a Ford, right? It doesn't matter. You have to make the moves now. Doesn't matter if you have teammates up there. You have to make something out of nothing if you have no teammates. So you look at the 24 at Peter Hopp. He made his way up there with little to no help. You have, the Mark Harmon cars that are still somewhat around each other. And you have the 3 back there that can potentially get up to Jacob Quill if you make something happen.
Yeah, I can't even believe, 10, 15 laps ago, we were talking about possible fuel strategy having to come into play, and now nobody who we were talking about at that point is up here except for maybe Jacob Quill. I mean, it has really changed so much over the last 10 laps, and it has become an absolute dogfight here, especially at the front of the field. I mean, I can't believe Brandon Kiger is back to the front.
I mean, Kiger miraculously made that top lane work. That third lane, he got help from Max Ford in that 11 machine and drove his way through the front, got clear, and just tried to block the lanes the best he could. And now he's up here leading with now 7 to go at Daytona. And I mean, it was a masterclass that he put up there because we've seen time and time again throughout the race that top lane was just not the preferred lane, especially that very tippy top next to the wall. But somehow that 85, with the help of Max Ford, got him clear and into the lead.
And, I mean, this cast of characters up front is so awesome. Benjamin Bushnell has worked his way up. He's going to restart 4th here. And right behind him, the 09, the Skittles machine of Nicholas Amons. We saw him get involved in a wreck just a little bit not too long ago. But he's made his way back to the front. Wyatt Youngblood, your pole sitter. A little damage on the nose of that car. He's going to be a great pusher, that's for sure. He's worked his way back up. We saw that pit road incident between him and the 73. And obviously that was a big blow, and the damage that he has is going to hurt him a lot, but he's going to be pretty dedicated to get back to that spot where he started.
Yeah, Wyatt has had definitely an up and down race, but back there in the P8 spot, definitely not in a bad place to be, going with 7 now 6 to go. And you see the lights off on the pace car. It's going to be interesting. Who's willing to make the moves? Who's willing to get up to the front? Who's willing to do what others won't to make up some spots?
And I'm ready to see some more of that 3-wide racing. That was absolutely exhilarating to watch. And I mean, it was only time until something like that happened. There's only so long you can go when everybody's going for it. Everybody in this field that is left is trying to win this race. And if you're telling me they're not, then I honestly don't believe you, because why even show up? This is your moment to try and get to the front, and everybody's trying.
This is your moment to go out here, win, and the World Series are at the World Center Racing. And here, to win the season opener here for the Prestige Cup Series, right? Season 2, Race 1. This is where you put everything on the table to try to go out here and win. And you're not going to see these drivers go back and try to slouch behind. They're going to do everything they can to come here and claim a checkered flag here at Daytona.
Brandon Kiger took the top. Pace car gives him the go-ahead. Peter Hopp on the bottom. Kiger gets the pedal down. Is he able to get down to the bottom this time? He's clear. If he wants it, he's going to take it. And this time, he will once again lead.
Thought he was going to take the top, but here comes the 25 of Benjamin Bushnell. He's going to go down there with the bottom as well. And look at this 25.
Amon's got turned, collects the 3 of Rhodes, and more cars. We're going to go again. Oh!
17 gets tagged pretty badly as well. And, I mean, we saw this coming. I mean, we saw a lot of wrecking and a lot of carnage, you know, in that duel when it came down to it back here. And we're starting to see that same incident here when it comes to what's going on. We'll take another look at this.
Not even all the way up through the gears either. I mean, this guy's making moves early.
See the 11 tags the 09 and nowhere for to go for a lot of these drivers. Look at the 7. Wow. Oh, maybe. Look at the 7 get through that wreck. Wow. Oh, as I say that, gets tagged at the end. Yeah.
Commentators cursing.
Yeah. Well, if you can give the bill to me, Joseph. That is my apologies. I thought you got through it and really got tagged. Honestly, no damage to that machine. But you send the bill over the high velocity TV over here if something else happens. But honestly, not a bad damage from that 7 machine. Good job keeping the car in it at least. So, but
if we get a chance, I'd love to go on board with Road here in the 3 machine, because I think that was a perfect example of how hard it is to save a next-gen car. In that wreck, I mean, he was literally fighting the car for a solid 5-6 seconds after that wreck was already done for him, at least for his part. And he did a good job, because that could have been race over for him, and now he's in 9th, and I don't even think he has that much damage.
we'll go up through the restart. We'll go through the gears here. And we'll go on board with this number 3 machine.
Completely sideways, and then watch him shimmy it back and forth.
Wow.
What a catch.
What a catch indeed. I mean, he definitely got some help. He got some, like, perfect contact to straighten that car back out, but that was not the end of the ride for that number 3 machine. Somehow catches that, and like you said, up into the P8 position. I mean, if he doesn't catch that, he's outside of probably the top 15.
And it puts him within 2 cars of his team owner, Jacob Quill. So maybe we see that Quill performance, teamwork start to come back into their favor a little bit as this race comes to the end. Obviously, they don't have the 8 machine with them this time of Trevino, sorry about that. But I think it's going to be interesting to watch, because now is where you want your teammates, because you're not going to have friends out there, so your best chance at it is somebody who carries the same name as you.
I definitely agree. See Gio Turpin and some of these guys coming out of pit road getting some damage fixed. And, I mean, those Trevino machines are in a good spot, right? You still have the 8 and 16th if need be, right? He's on standby if another wreck happens. But, you know, you have those Trevino cars right there. You have, you know, the 25, who's kind of a new face of the top 2. Obviously a Chevy, who's going to probably help some of these other Chevy guys. But you have this 85, my apologies, who's kind of in no man's land. The next Toyota is, let's see, all the way back here in, what, 9th or 10th? Or 6th or 7th?
Yeah. I think that, I mean, obviously the Toyotas have shown a lot of speed, but you also have to be careful. Max Ford, his car has looked very unstable, and he was at the head of that accident. That car looks very unstable holding a line, and he might have a little damage on the nose that's probably upsetting how the car is handling. It's going to be interesting to see how he's going to be able to hook up with those other Toyotas, and if he's actually really going to be so much help. But, I mean, what else can you do at this point? You just have to hope that your chips have been laid on the right hand.
And you have to make sure that you put yourself in the best spot to really get to the end here. We'll have a natural green and white checkered, I believe, here, so this will not count towards your 3 overtime finishes that we are allowed to have. But when we get down to the green and white checkered territory, we already know that there's going to be some chaos and potentially some more wrecks going to happen. I mean, everybody's trying to put everything they can on the line to get their car back up there. I mean, look at that one machine down there in the P7 position. His nose all caved in, all junked up, but he's still in here in the fight trying to make something happen.
And fans at home, if you're watching this and you're not excited to see how this race plays out, I think you have turned the broadcast off, because this is going to be an absolutely incredible end to this race. Like Christian said, it's going to be a natural green-white checkered. Brandon Kiger has worked his way up. Benjamin Bushnell as well. It's a whole new cast of characters from what we've seen 50 laps ago. Pretty much nobody from that point of the race is up here anymore. It's going to be... These guys are going to have to work their way up from where they are in the middle of the pack, and the people at the front, they're going to have to do everything they can to hold on to the lead. You don't have much time. This is it.
3 laps going down to 2 to go. As you see, the lights are off on the pace car. I mean, this will, once again, everything's on the table here. You see the 25, newcomer to the top 2. He's going to be on the inside. You see the 85 on the outside. The Toyota Chevy front row pace car is going to take the hard left. And we're going to be back green at Daytona with 2 to go. So we get ready to go green.
Kiger into the restart zone. Bushnell has to try and chase him. Kiger clears both lanes. He gets to pick whatever he wants. Hop on the high side. Bushnell on the bottom. It's a swarm of Chevys behind the leading Toyota of Kiger. To the bottom goes Hop. Leaves the 44 of Hatch on the high side. Oh, sorry, of Tittle on the high side. He just barely slots in time. 3 lanes, about 5 cars back.
You see Jacob Quill trying to spearhead that middle lane. As you see now, some of the Mark Harmon machines going to go up there and try to block this lane. Well, with a huge shot to the back of the 74. Here comes the 44 now with the top.
Hatch to the back of Tittle. It's a big shove through the center of 3 and 4. Gets him a little upset, but it doesn't matter. He's going to keep holding it, trying to spearhead that high line. We're going to make it back. One more trip around. 2.5 miles to go for the 85 of Brandon Kiger.
Kiger's going to have to do everything he can to keep that bottom line under sorts. You see Hop doing everything he can to give him a good push. Oh, almost sideways there, but here comes the 44 out of turn 2 with a run from his teammate to try to go side by side for this lead.
Wiping the bumpers for the lead. Both drivers getting shoved extremely hard on the high side. Here comes the Quill Performance cars. Trevino back pushing his team owner of Jacob Quill. It's going to be a drag race. Teams versus teams, but it's the sole driver of 85, Brandon Kiger, leading out of 4.
Wrecking in the back, but not going to matter. It's going to be a photo finish. Peter Hop looking on the outside, photo finish, 85. Give it to Brandon Kiger.
And a big wreck afterwards, Brandon Kiger. He was wrecked 20 laps ago, and now he is a winner after 100 laps at Daytona.
And what a run for this 85. You said it perfectly, Peter. Got wrecked out, got caught up in some things out of his doing. Go back up to the front, making the 3 wide on the top work, and put himself in the perfect opportunity to come here and race for a win. Great run by Peter Hop. Where did he come from? Out of turn 4, made a run out of nothing. Almost stole away from that 85 machine.
And I don't think we could ask for a better Team Foster 250. That was an absolutely incredible race all the way down to the wire. And Brandon Kiger, I mean, he put everything together he needed to win that race today. And there it is. That 85 is going to get to park it in victory lane, and he is the first driver to get a win in a points race in the season.
Yeah, first points paying win for this 85 machine. And what a way to do it. Side by side, 17 100ths of a second over that P2 driver.
Hop made that move, but it was just not quite timed correctly. And door-to-door to line, they got stuck together, and Brandon Kiger came out on top. He is victorious here from Daytona.
Burn it down here in the infield here at Daytona International Speedway, and well earned, right? You need to burn it down. You see the.
For sure. I mean, look at this finishing order just for a second. Youngblood, Wyatt Youngblood finished 4th. Sure, he started from the pole, but his trip there was not easy. He had some issues all throughout the race, and for him to grab a 4th, for Bushnell to grab a 3rd. I mean, great runs from guys who we really didn't talk about, at least at the middle of the race.
Yeah, Bushnell, we didn't really talk about it at all until that, final 5-10 laps to go, and he spearheaded his way up into the top 3, and unfortunately just couldn't take advantage of that, of the opportunity there, as we see Brandon Kaiser now park that car in victory lane. But we'll go ahead and go through your unofficial race results here from Daytona for the Team Foster 250. Obviously, we saw Brandon Kaiser get to the line first here at Daytona. Peter Hott, 17/100 back. So close for that 24. What a run by him. Benjamin Bushnell, P3. And rounding out your podium, Wyatt Youngblood. Good run for him. As Peter mentioned, Jacob Quill has been really in the top 5 since the second half of this race. Good run for him. Jake Collins, P6. Zachary Trevino, P8. David Tittle, P8. Reeve Simmons, P9, and Nicholas Rhodes can round out that top 10.
In 11th, it was Ryan Hatch. Jaron Valley finished 12th. 13th was Max Ford. Joseph Enright, 14th. Tyler Helms, 15th. The 16th position goes to Gavin Smith. Gio Turpin finishes 17th. Andrew Tenold, 18th. Jeffrey Herrick, 19th. And Owen Lax, a great run from him today, but it comes up short. He's going to end up 20th.
21st is me, Caleb Gordon. Wyatt Thomas in that P22 spot. Eli McDonald, P23. Kendorian Davis. Expect a little bit more out of him, but he's going to come up P24. Gabriel Angoli, really good run for him, but also comes up short there in P25. P26, Brian White. P27, Roman Ivanov. P28, Joshua Parent. P29, Nicholas Amos. And rounding out your top 3 is going to be Chris Emerson in that 13 machine.
And for the rest of your field, Oliver Quinney finished 31st. 1 lap down was Ryder Morgan. Zach Case finished 33rd. Justin Wilkes, 9 laps down, finished 34th. Zachary Beckman finished 35th. And the rest of the drivers all out of the race. Frank Skimmerhorn, Alex Exridge, Devin Galvin, Preston Salmon, Connor Martucci, and I think there was one more car. Lucas Lewis was your last car who rounded out your field. And I think it's time for some post-race interviews.
We will get ready for post-race interviews. Let's make sure that the drivers are in here, and while we get these drivers in the waiting room, let's go ahead and let our partners over at iRacing talk to you guys for one last time, one last commercial break, and we will talk to your top 3 after our words from iRacing.
Race.
Back live here at Daytona for the Prestige Racing Series here. Once again, at the World Center of Racing for Daytona, as we just saw a doozy of a finish, Peter, as the number 85, Brandon Kiger, takes it home, the victory here at Daytona.
Yeah, and we're going to get a word from him here in just 1 second as well.
So we'll try to see if we can grab him in the VC.
Here he is.
And Max, I swear to God, he about wrecked me 3 times, but he never lifted, and it was awesome.
Hey, Brandon, it's Christian up here at HVTV booth. Got a copy?
I got you, buddy. How you doing?
Well, probably not as good as you. I mean, kind of put yourself up there in the front for, I would say like the last 10 laps of this race and never gave it up. So walk us through your race, walk us through, that finish, and walk us through what was going through your head, during those last couple of restarts.
Oh, man, it was just crazy finish. But now strategy was just stay out of trouble, right around the back, normal restrictor plate stuff. With about 20 to go, we decided to go. Fortunately for the Black Dirt Racing team, we didn't get all of us up there, but I could make my way up there. And once I got up there, I knew what I had to do to hold everybody off. If it didn't work, it didn't work, but it worked. So here we are tonight.
Yeah, and Brandon, obviously there was that one incident where you ended up getting caught in that wreck under yellow. What was going through your head? Because that was so late in the race, you had to be at least a little questioning if you were going to be able to get back up there.
Yeah, I was very upset about that one. Just people lack of paying attention is the best way to say it. I really thought we was done there. We went down, took fuel, filled it up with fuel, and pitted for 4 tires. And honestly, it was game on from there. They pissed me off, so I was just seeing the front from there.
Yeah, you talked about seeing red and getting caught up in these cautions. Like, we definitely had our fair share of them, and, getting through the wrecks, I feel like, was a big key of keeping your car up towards the front, keeping that car clean. So, like, when you see a wreck here at Daytona, like, what's the first thing to do? We see some drivers who try to just drive through it. We see some drivers who have like probably like stopped on track to try to stay out of it. What's your mentality when it comes to like seeing the big one here at Daytona?
I'm a I'm a drive through it kind of guy. I'd rather hit somebody trying to drive through it than let somebody hit me from behind trying to drive through it. If you know what I'm saying. Um, I don't just hold it wide open and hope for the best. Brake and try to aim it the best place I know and predict. I got lucky tonight on a bunch of them. I was very close to being wiped out, but it worked out.
We could definitely see it worked out really well for you. But before we let you go, obviously pretty emotional winning here at Daytona, the season opener. Is there anybody you'd like to thank for this win here?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the whole Black Dirt Racing Cup and Co team, Radical Racing Gears, Monster Energy, Racing One Group Results, Skittles, bunch of guys, and there's one person. That's unfortunately he's not my teammate, but Max Ford. He done a heck of a job pushing me to the lead there, and I won't never forget what he done right there. And it'll come back to him around for the end of the season.
We definitely saw that number 11 helping you get the victory here, but still, congratulations on this victory. Hopefully, we can talk to you later on, maybe in victory lane once again.
I hope to be here a bunch more this year. That's all I come for to do is win and let the championship play out.
Well, hopefully, we can see you in victory lane once again. Have a good rest of the night.
Thank you. I'll do the same. Appreciate y'all putting it on.
Yeah. That was your winner here at Daytona. Obviously, very happy to see, Brandon coming out here, giving us an interview and being excited about it. But let's go ahead and talk to your P2 finisher. And that number 24 came up so short. But let's go ahead and talk to Peter Hop in the 24 machine. Hey, Peter, it's Christian and Peter up here in the HVTV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, 17/100 short, but still granted a really good finish for you here at Daytona. You were kind of up and down all over the boards. You were up here in the top 5 for for most of this part of this back half, but also, you were in the back or during the front of the field. But just walk us through your race, walk us through, the cautions, walk us through, how you got up there to try to contend for that win.
Yeah, definitely starting in 23rd was not a great place for me to start, but I was luckily back there with some of my teammates. We just stayed committed to each other, saved fuel when we could, avoided all the wrecks. I got lucky in one wreck. I drove through the 8 car because he ghosted through me. That saved me. Um, Finally got up into the position, was working with the 33, Jacob Quill, got to thank him quickly, and just trying to get around Brandon, and he did a good job, and Benjamin went with Brandon, so I had no help.
Yeah, and we saw you pretty much once you got up front, you didn't really go away. A lot of drivers got up front and then ended up getting caught in something. How hard was it to stay up there with all the chaos that was happening?
Honestly, not too hard. I I love doing draft masters, so I love doing super speedway racing, and it definitely helped out just staying consistent, not trying to push anyone too hard, and just making smart moves.
Well, when you talk about, it being a little bit easier for you, a lot of people do struggle at these super speedways. What do you think, like, is the difference between, like, the good super speedway racers and the guys who need a little bit of help? You see like people like Austin Hill in the Xfinity series who go out and dominate every time you go out to a super speedway, and obviously you see some guys like you who really have a good ton of luck here. What do you think is the difference that brings you from a good to a great super speedway racer?
I'll say most of it is luck, and there is some people say there's a lot of skill in it. Some people say there's not much skill in it. I mean, you do have to have the skill, the time, when to make your runs, who to block, who to just let by because you know they're just gonna be too fast to block, and that's what Austin Hill does in Xfinity racing. He knows exactly when to block. What helps him too is his teammate, and teammates help a lot in super speedways. So yeah, it's just being consistent and being very, very smart and where your car is on track.
Well, I definitely agree that, you did a good job at doing exactly what you said, putting yourself in at least in position to strike for this one. Obviously, you said just couldn't get the help to get you to the line to kind of pedal your car across the finish line before that 85. But before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank, any shout outs from sponsors, friends, family watching home, really anybody you'd like to thank for this P2 position?
I'd like to thank my team owner, Condorian Davis and Mach 5 Racing. They let me join the team and run this beautiful William Byron paint scheme. Trying to get it back to victory lane didn't quite work. Like to thank all the viewers for showing up, watching this amazing race, and yeah, hopefully we'll have a good season.
We hopefully wish the best for you for the next rest of the season. Obviously, a little bit, I mean, so close, but hopefully we can talk to you, later this season. Hopefully back here in Victory Lane.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a tough season with this many drivers.
Yeah, we'll see. You have a great rest of the night, Peter.
You guys too.
That was your second place driver. As we have one more to talk to, and that is the 25 Benjamin Bushnell. Really, he's kind of came out of nowhere to come here in P3, but let's go ahead and talk to him. Hey Benjamin, it's Christian and Peter up here in the HVTV booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you guys.
Will up each, despite having 41 cars show up here. So walk us through your race. Walk us through what got you up to that P3, to the P3, and just walk us through those last couple of restarts. What was going through your head?
Yeah, like when we did the green flag pit stops, I was almost a lap down, running with a lapper, just trying to stay on the lead lap, and then just kind of worked my way up through the field, dodged a couple crashes. This is my first time running in this league, so not really knowing how people drive. I've driven with a couple guys, but I'll take third. Like I kind of had a shot, but I kind of just hung low and pushed the leader and pushed him to a win, so he owes me one. So it was a good race.
Yeah, we honestly, you kind of came out of nowhere when you entered that top five. We hadn't really even seen you much during the race, and once you got up front, it seemed like your car was just really good, really stable, and not having those extra, that extra experience with the people in the field. Do you think that if it went a little differently, maybe if you had had a couple more races under your belt with these guys, you may have been able to get the opportunity to go for the lead?
Yeah, I mean, not running much with these guys. You kind of want to keep it nice and clean, right? You don't want to push too hard and have a bad reputation. So I figured, it was a good one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. You know, coming to Daytona, you really don't want to put yourself in a hole you have to dig out of for the rest of the season. And did a good job here running in third. So, you know, looking forward into the season, is there maybe a track you have circled on the schedule that you think you'd have a really good shot at coming back and potentially running up here in the front at?
Yeah, I mean, I really like all, mile and a halves and short tracks. I'm pretty good on everything. So I really look forward to all of them, man, just to see what I got against some of these guys. I race in a few other leagues and usually run up front. So hopefully I can keep top fives rolling, and that's the goal.
Well, you're doing a great job starting off with this third place finish. But before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank for this podium spot? Any friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to thank for this third place finish?
Yeah, definitely like to thank my wife. She's the one who lets me do this, a few days a week. So takes some time and definitely a lot of money and equipment. So I thank her the most. And I want to thank the guys that put on the Prestige Racing League. Like, it's really fun. We got a lot of drivers. So hopefully we can keep the turnout up and keep rolling.
I definitely agree, and no, couldn't definitely do it without all these, you know, people putting on the show at home. But once again, congratulations on this P3 finish, Benjamin, and we'll let you go ahead and drag you down to get prepared for next week. But hopefully, we can talk to you once again, maybe in Victory Lane.
Yep. Thank you guys. And I appreciate your broadcast. Have a good one.
Yep. You have a good rest of the night. That was your third place finisher and Benjamin Bushnell, and he made a good point, and we do have to really give a huge shout out to all the guys who run into like JJ, who's doing the race control and being in a booth with us at the same time. I mean, he's doing God's work, giving us this information that we need to make an informed broadcast for you guys, right? I mean, there's definitely some things that we didn't know about that JJ did a really good job at telling us and informing us about when it came to what to tell you guys and what to inform you guys, especially during the duels earlier this evening, that the setup wasn't correct, and without the guidance of JJ and all those guys giving us that info, we definitely would have been a little bit lost. But Peter, despite uh some of the cautions we had, still a really phenomenal race that these drivers put on tonight at Daytona.
Oh yeah, I mean, I gotta give a hand to the drivers and everybody who's put this league on. It's one of the best that I've gotten to take part in any form, commentating racing. It's definitely up there, and it's been an incredible night of racing all the way since the duels, which started, back at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock when it was Eastern time, and now we're 4 hours later finishing up the night, and it has been non-stop action. I mean, I can't even believe some of the stuff that we've seen tonight. The storylines coming out of today are absolutely massive. I mean, we saw drivers up front throughout the majority of the race that weren't even accounted for at the end of it, such as the 60 machine of Owen Lax, the 17, his teammate, the 41 of Quinny. All of these guys that we saw up front said they might be great coming into this one, didn't even pop up front. And Brandon Kiger, I mean, he absolutely stole the show at the end. I loved hearing from him about how he thought his own race was over after that caution under the caution. And for him to rebound, I mean, it's not easy to do that, but definitely the fire under him helped him.
I definitely agree. He by far stole the show here, and he was one of those drivers, just like the 25 of Bushnell, kind of just sneaked his way up there into the top five, put himself in position. Obviously, he gave a huge shout out to Max Ford for giving him that huge shove. Max ends up P13 after putting all that work in to get the 85 to the lead. But yeah, I mean, he definitely stole the show. Came out here, wasn't the most flashy driver, but that's how it happens. You look at William Byron in this year's Daytona 500, not Daytona 24. Unfortunately, we got that caution on the last lap, but he just kind of found his way to the front and won the Daytona 500. And I think that 85 did a really good job at kind of putting apples to apples there. just getting himself in a position to go up there and get that checkered flag.
Yeah, absolutely incredible run there from Brandon Kiger, and he didn't even really need any actual teammates to help him there. I mean, we saw so many teams work together throughout the whole race. All the Quill cars were trying to get connected. All the MHR cars were connected pretty much every time we looked at them. But all of that blew up on the last lap. I mean, the MHR cars are all spread out around the field. I think the highest finishing one was David Tittle, and then the next one back is Ryan Hatch, 4 spots back, and then you have to go a little bit of a ways to find the next. So it's all that teamwork that you prepare throughout the whole entire race and the whole entire day. It can all come undone in one set of corners, and fortunately for Brandon Kiger, he was in the right place at the right time at the front of the field.
And you talk about the teamwork, and it's almost like coming from someone who's raced in the team race with you, Peter. Right? Some of these drivers put in so much time and effort into like preparing to do something, right? And then it comes back and it's like, well, what happened, right? We had a plan and it didn't go to, and we didn't do it, right? And that's just the way Daytona is. You can prepare for months and months and make sure that you put yourself in the right spot and things don't go your way, right? And that's exactly what happened. Maybe for someone like a Jacob Quill, who they, from the sounds of the clash, right? He was the person who was the spokesperson for the 3 and the 8, who got P2 and P3 at USA International. Had put a lot of time into making sure that they were going to be. That's just the way that Daytona tends to be. Sometimes you look at these drivers, the 85, not really any teammates. The 25, not really having any teammates up there. And then once you get back down there, Peter Hop, right? Teammates with the 88 and those group of guys, but those guys were nowhere up towards the front.
Yeah, and I really loved Hop's interview talking about what does make a good and a great super speedway driver. And somebody like him who self-admittedly says he loves these super speedway tracks, for him to say, a good amount of it is luck, I think really shows you, even the guys who are good and enjoy this kind of racing know what it is. I mean, this is what you sign up for when you decide to run, and 41 drivers decided to, try their hand against Lady Luck tonight. And, Brandon Kiger, Peter Hott, Benjamin Bushnell, they're the ones who get to, say they beat Lady Luck and ended up locking out that top 3 podium.
Yeah, great podium despite everybody, and there's going to be some drivers who are digging some holes out of Daytona. So people like Tyler Curley, people like the 60 machine, and the 48 of Tyler Helms, who looked like they had this all wrapped up, right? And even Tyler Curley, we just looked at him as a favorite, and he really didn't run up towards the front at all. But those guys have a big hole to dig out of compared to some of these drivers up front.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's just the best way to sum it up was it was an incredible night of racing, and I hope everybody at home enjoyed it to their fullest extent, because I know for a fact I enjoyed it.
Oh, I definitely up here in the booth. Me and Peter love calling this race. It's I feel like one of my favorites that I've called in a while. There's not a lot of times, especially for us here for High Velocity TV, where you get a league like this where there's 40 cars, 40 competitive cars at that can come up here and put on a great show. Despite, we do call some really good races here for some other series, but that was a really fun one to call. But despite all that, it was a phenomenal race, phenomenal racing, and a really good finish. And I'm glad that you fans stuck around at home to watch a good one. But before we go, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our league sponsors for tonight for the season. Once again, huge shout out to Backmarker and everything they do here. Use code PRS10 at checkout to help support the league and support everybody here at PRS. If you're looking for any button boxes, that admin box is your place to go. Use code PRS box at checkout to help support the league and the community here as well. And obviously, huge shout out to Team Foster for not only sponsoring the series and helping out in that way, but sponsoring your Team Foster 250. But from here and everybody else here in the HVTV studio. Thank you guys so much for coming out and watching a banger of a race here at Daytona for the Prestige Racing Series. Once again, my name is Christian Delgado alongside me, Peter Terrio and JJ Moore up in the booth. Hope everybody has a great rest of the night. We'll be back on live on Friday for the AWC Pro Series. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification to be notified anytime we go live. But besides that, hope everybody has a great rest of the night and enjoy yourselves.